What is that?
It's cutting-edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
So we can actually do that.
Yes. Good evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals, to the Amazon University UK and Ireland Women's and Non-Binary Valorant Tournament. The stars tonight have indeed aligned for me personally, because not only are you seeing my wonderful face on your screens, we are also joined by the incredible Zach. Hello, Zach. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good, especially after such a kind intro. And don't believe, Grace, like I've been angling to cast with her and get on desk with her for a while as well. So stars have aligned for both of us for sure. But yes, we are going to be heading into, I believe that we talked about week 5 of the playoff season. So pretty excited about it. And of course, before we head into this stuff, thank you for our sponsors. I believe it is going to be Prime Video, Prime Student, and Omen for making this possible. And I believe that this playoffs game is very, very interesting. I think that in this best of 3 that we're going to be seeing today, it is going to be Team Grocery Store. Personally, I love that name, facing off against Quackas.
This is it, Team Grocery Store, which again, for those of you at home who might not be able to see this, they do indeed have the meal deal slogan, I think, as their logo, which is quite cool, or the club card logo. It was kind of making us laugh beforehand. Again, we are week 5, round 4. So as Zach just said, we are officially in the best of 3 situations, which is where things could get a little bit spicier. Certainly people have to dig deep for those map picks. Personally, Zach, though, I'm quite excited for this one. This will be Plymouth Quackers versus, and this is where the interesting part gets for me, Grocery Store. Grocery Store is actually made up of, if you remember from last season, ladies and gentlemen, Lavrita from Boosted E-Girls has actually joined this roster recently. Boosted E-Girls themselves, the rest of that roster, have entered this season as OnlyFans. So again, keep your eyes on that. OnlyFans actually currently being in the lower bracket after getting 2-1'd by Lavrita and Pal. So that's already a pretty spicy showing for me. But even more spicy is the fact that Plymouth Quackers, last time they got into the playoffs, they were 2-0'd initially. And I really, really was so sad for them last time. And I was really hoping, okay, next season, you know, we see these moments of brilliance from them. Next season, they just have to send it. They just have to come and show up and show everyone what they're made of. They certainly have it in them. So again, I want to go all the way here, Zach.
I definitely do hope so, especially considering the maps that we are going to be having for today. We have some spicy stuff coming up. I believe that we are going to be starting off with Lotus, if I'm not wrong, the pick coming out of Grocery themselves. So they're definitely looking for a little bit more exotic shopping in that aisle. So as to speak. But yeah, personally, one of the maps that since it came out, I've had very mixed feelings about it, but I love casting it. The main reason I like it so much is because it really, really managed to bring some life into what has been a very, very stale Asian meta, in my opinion. Sure, that chamber nerf, it kind of like shook things up, but I think that at one of the VCT matches that happened a while ago, I actually saw 10 different agents being picked on this one map. I've very rarely seen that before, so definitely one of my favorites heading into this. And if I'm not wrong, in this particular thing, it is going to be Grocery Stores who are starting off on attack. So about Lotus, the thing that's interesting is that, you know, when you look at the map in particular, in the first 30 seconds, it's like a super attacker-sided map. The orbs are all going to be in really relative ease. You can like farm up on those ultimates and a bunch of things. But after that, considering that it is a 3-sided map, the defenders, they have a lot of room to push out if they don't get caught right off the bat.
And this is the interesting thing for me too, because personally, I haven't really had much chance to, well, I haven't had any chance at all to cast Lotus yet. So
there you go.
This is going to be very exciting for me. Glad I'm with you to do it too. This is going to be certainly exciting for me indeed. And again, I just think that maybe this is a little bit of, okay, we go to, you know, one of these newer maps. We try and catch them a little bit off guard here. Do you think that could be the case here?
I think that could be the case because like I said, it's a map that hasn't really had a tried and tested meta. We've seen multiple compositions work out. I think it comes down to really being able to handle your comfort pick as
Yeah.
we head into this particular one. So seeing that it has been chosen by the side of grocery stores, they've definitely been doing some work on it. I think that they are having some secret plans. They've gone shopping, gotten some chips,
Ooh.
gotten some strats along with that, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to be bringing into this particular map. Though, I mean, that's like I said, right? When it comes to usually on a set you see like only that Astra or that Omen coming in, but for this map, I have seen every single controller being played, and they all
Mm,
work. Like they all work. That's the thing. This is a map that I think when it comes to a constant, the one thing that I've seen the most is that breach because of how some of these angles are like set up for the concussion to like really try and slow things down,
yes.
especially in combination with the raise. Like so many times when I've been playing ranked, I've been trying to go for that A side hit, and right off the bat, first 10 seconds of the round, there's like a pain shells and concussion combo, and I'm just like, oh no, good night.
Yeah. The util dumps on the tight choke points. It's a tale as old as time, and certainly one that we'll definitely see on this map. But as we roll into this agent select, I mean, you have touched on this just now, but we are actually seeing a little bit of a hover over that chamber by Jay.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting because this is a map that Chamber still does see a little bit of love because, like you mentioned, really tight angles. The sides are also kind of small, so you can get away with that
Mm.
reduced radius that the Chamber really has. Because he took a little bit of a beating, well, quite a lot of a beating, but he still is able to find some value, especially if you can get him on an operator fast enough. As a chamber, that's something to really watch out for. But aside from that, I really like what I'm seeing out of the defense here. It's
Mm.
what you'd expect to see on a Sense, except for that double controller. I'll be honest. I like that Harbor pick as well. Personally, one of my favorite
Mm.
agents. When he came out, I was like, yeah, Harbor ain't not so great. But the more I've seen people using him, the more I'm convinced that he's the future of the double controller meta because of just how versatile his kit seems to be.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing really is versatility. And again, especially when it comes to a map like this, not that old yet. Again, one of the newest maps in the map pool, people have to try and different things here. I'd say we're seeing that pretty much at every level at the moment. Again, very excited to see how this is going to go. For me personally, I just want to say too, like Ghost. For those of you who may not remember from last season, Ghost can have some very fruity moments indeed, and already from the play days that we've already had and even streamed, Ghost has been showing up, and I want to see more of that from this player in particular. Again, for me, I tend to not get favorites throughout the tournament, but certainly you see these players once in a while, especially when it comes to the duelists, because they're the ones that can be the fraggy ones. They're the ones can be a little bit more showy offy. But again, just very consistent when it comes to getting that opening space for their team. So I think going into this, eyes probably on Ghost for this matchup as well. You want to be seeing like the way that she's really going for these entries here.
Yeah. However, though, talking about ghost entries, I do notice that for the defense, it's a little bit less of aggressive utility that's coming out for
Mm.
them. They seem to be going for more of a retake setup, looking at the comp that they're running. But the attackers, they have no such comps. They're going to be bringing up a breach and a KO, double
With the
flash
KO.
initiator. Yeah, yeah, that's just a little bit scary. So I really hope that there's some really good reflexes coming on these defenders because they're going to be flashed into oblivion on that attack. But I think they were kind of expecting that, which is why we do see that kind of retake setup coming out of this team early info, and then when you're trying to take back the site, that's gonna be a flare. But I think in particular, I like this Killjoy pick coming out because not only
Mm.
does her post plant on that nanoswarms give you a lot of value, but especially the fact that her lockdown, like single-handedly, no matter which of these three sites you go on attack or defense, for that retake or taking the site, it just covers all of it. So really, really, really good ultimate, powerful ultimate on this map.
100%. I think unless they do some crazy nerf, I don't think that's ever going to be something we don't see from teams. It's so powerful when it comes to that final collapse, that final execute, to actually have that lockdown in pocket. So I just think Killjoy is going to be always something that we'll continue to see pretty much in every map composition as time goes on. Again, please don't do this, but unless they nerf her.
I think they already did nerf her. That's the worst part. It's just still incredibly powerful because the fact that Chamber is no longer that great. But yeah, right now it does seem like there's gonna be some initial waters being tested by both of these teams towards the seaside. Cascade from Harbor, of course, acting as a stopgap, preventing these attackers from really finding too much value. But aside from that, it's still gonna be just a bit of a default, very slow start coming out of this team. And honestly, I respect it because, like I said, those first 30 seconds, it's made for these attackers to just try and figure out what exactly they can, while the defense, they take some more space on the opposite side.
Certainly so. Always ideal to try and get your feelers out, see what you're working with initially. This could be an interesting one, though. A little bit of ring around the roses around the corner. The Rita looking to get a little bit aggressive here. Can she land the shot, though? Pre-fire going out, doesn't quite land yet. There we go. First blood in the hands. Is going to fall. Santana falls too, but 2K flying back there from the attackers. Chips with a second one onto Bonsai.
One enemy
Got
remaining.
ready with it, taking down Lavrita as Luna falls 2, and already massive casualties
planted.
on both sides. Jane on left in a 1 versus 2. The spike is down. A very uncomfortable retake they have to go, because look at the positioning right now.
They also know exactly where Jay is. The left to turn off, and off the back of the Sacra will be able to push up and confirm that kill. A very, very good attacking round coming out of these players. But yeah, like you mentioned, it was going to be the Jet action starting things off. Luna, or rather, I'm just gonna call them Chips because I love that name. I just want to say Chips every time they pop off. But yeah, Chips being able to start things off, find a headshot on that Harbor, and just take over the rest of the side. 3 kills on the round for the phenomenal job coming out of the Jet, and already more than halfway there to that Blade Storm. But overall, you know, if you look at how this team did play the map, they played for a lot of map control. You know, right off the bat, you saw like Supra getting quite a bit of information towards that A side. They were able to like kind of figure out like, okay, it's looking a little bit tasty. Let's just try and execute. And yeah, they had a great time bunching down those players.
Certainly so. And again, a little bit of patience here. We're seeing this patience yet again when it comes to this round 2. Just looking to see if anyone's going to be a bit cheeky with it. Sometimes I do actually prefer it when the defense get a little bit bolshy with it, when they go for those early kind of, okay, I'm going to go a little bit aggressive here. I'm going to use the fact that we have the time in our favor to try and go for some cheeky picks. But we're seeing a lot of passiveness on both sides. Well, there we are. As I say it, Sakura takes down Jay. The trade does come through, as Lavrita gets taken away, but Chips is just too fast with it already. Significant casualties on that defensive side. It looks like they can open up this breathing room and go for that spike plant.
Yeah, they do have the numbers advantage by 1, like you mentioned. Also the weapons advantage, considering that they did get the plant and that win that previous round. Now I like this retake setup coming up. You know, they have Chips going for a little bit of aggression through the gap, but the smoke does manage to make out this player, doing a little bit of chip damage. Sorry about that. So yeah, a little bit of chip damage. Bonsai being tagged down to a sliver of HP right now. The paranoia making things worse, and now it's all down to just the Sova. 8 HP and a Dream with 4 players on the hunt, and it is going to be Chips finally confirming that kill there. Second round, as expected, I would say, won by these attackers, only losing 1 player in the process. So they are going to be having quite a bit to take into this particular bonus round here. But for the defense, finally, we are going to be seeing some big guns coming out, those rifles in play, and they're also just too off of that reckoning from that Harbor. You know, personally, I think that this particular ult, it is pretty good by itself, but it only is super useful if you have some synergy coming off of it, especially, you know, if you have a Jet that can try and take some space, or Paranoia to pair with it, because it's going to tell you exactly where these people are, and you can just hunt them down at your leisure. I do hope we see that coming into play in this one, but for the side of the defense, hopefully not, because, you know, on this kind of bonus run, you really want to try and hold on to these ultimates, especially when you do have that superior weapon advantage.
100%. Again, speaking of, you know, information and how you're using utility, I think Bonsai was actually holding on to a lot of that intel utility even till the end there, and I think that's something we're probably going to see here as well. That's already going down, but look how quick they're working these executes. There we go. It's now a retake, a full team versus team retake, Bo. As I say it, casualties come through. Run and Bonsai 1 apiece. Look at this angle. Sakra's trying to hold some desperate times, go for desperate measures, but they do indeed get a kill. Because of that, Luna trades it back immediately, though, as that swing around the corner comes through. It's looking a little bit ringing around the rosy for Chips right now. Can they get one? No, they can't. It's not looking too great right now. I mean, to be honest, Zach, again, it's feeling a little bit uncomfortable. A little bit uncomfortable. Maybe that map pick was really for a reason, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, as far as the defenders, at least it's not too bad. They managed to walk away with 3 of their rifles. You do see a little bit of confusion as to what exactly these remaining players should be buying. A bit of an awkward buy, a Spectre, a Stinger now. They're still debating what exactly they can be pulling off. But yeah, like you mentioned, the map pick, you know, was their pick, I don't think, looking too good. But for a grocery store, seeing that it was, they are looking great right now. They're not afraid to take these aggressive duels. And once again, having pushed Jay off of that angle, they are looking to commit towards the side, have the lockdown as well to try and confirm it, and will be investing it as they look to push into the C side.
I think it's just something for me is, again, this is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. The fact that you can get so much use of the utility because of that is just whopper. And we're really seeing this, again, because of how fast those executes are. Gorgeous stuff. Valoranт gets one, but that plan is going down yet again. The aggression there coming through to try and clap back, but Sakura taking down Jay. It is looking once again ferocious on both sides. These fast and furious rounds really converting into a lot of fun for us as viewers. Probably not fun for the players at home, especially not fun for Run, who has just been taken out by Rantaro. Goodness me, Zach. Things are certainly getting a little bit hot between these two.
For sure. Ghost finally able to strike back and find one, but still it's going to come down to just them right now. 1v3, and it will be a jet diff coming out of Chips who shuts them down. Talking about this round, I think like you touched upon, Grace, the fact that, you know, this is their map pick. They're looking super confident heading into this. It's quite clear that they put in the work. These executes as well, you know, they're super methodical. Like the call for that last run, right? It was like, yeah, guys, we have the lockdown. We're going to be able to cover all of C's side. They also have the discipline to wait it out. Usually you see teams getting a little bit ahead of themselves, just pushing in as soon as that lockdown puts in, but you didn't see a single player try and enter until those last couple of seconds, and even then they use a flash to do it. So very, very methodical, very practiced play, I would say, coming out of this particular team.
I mean, I'm just so impressed again on both sides, again, with how they're being very conservative about their util use. When we do see that util use come through, they're really using the amount of space that they have to their advantage with that utility too. Again, if we're seeing this thing where they're both very quiet. As soon as that collapse comes through, that's when the aggression starts. And we're seeing this yet again. Beautiful little crossfire being held there, but Chips is the one to take down Bonsai. Ghost trades it back, but Crisps comes through. Ghost taken out. So again, the player really looking at to make that breathing room for the defense is yeeted and deleted from the server.
Sorry, I love how you said that. Once again, the numbers advantage is going to be swinging towards the attackers here. Lunar, in the meantime, having gotten himself into just a little bit of a ratty position, I would say, prepared for the flank as they try to go through. Now, though, Jay trying to hold the angle, not quite able to connect the shot, unfortunately, as once again, side control is going to be taken. Lunar on the flank, looking for this kill, will in fact be able to confirm that headshot, and now it is going to be a 3v2 retake right now. The Harbor and the Omen controller power, can they get it done? Is going to be the question. The spike itself is going to be planted for main right now, so this defuse, if they can get a couple of smokes down, they might be able to try and stick it. They do have that cove to work with, which I think might be a huge difference maker here. However, the Rolling Thunder from VALORANT might be the difference maker. It's going to be invested, and are they going to push off of it? Yes, it does.
Perfectly timed for the util there, and again coming through yet again. Gorgeous stuff here on both sides. I'm really trying to go for that defuse, but they just can't. The util's up, it's there. The timer is ticked down too much. Luna has to hightail it out of there. Goodness me, that post plant then. Woo!
I really, really like how that bridge played it. Like, they expected the cove, they expected the smoke, they knew all of that was coming, and they were more than prepared for that. And they used that Rolling Thunder to get them off the diffuse, make sure it wasn't being stuck, spray down the cove, and after that, you know, when you do have those phantoms and you know exactly where that spike is planted in that position in particular, I do believe that, you know, it's pretty easy to try and convert around off the back of that. But in particular, I like how I feel like even though they're not winning these rounds or converting them well, I think that it is going to be the defense looking just a little bit more comfortable. They're able to like at least keep the numbers advantage in their favor. But right now, I think we're going to be having a little bit of a disconnect coming out of one of the players for the attackers. So we're going to be having just a little bit of a pause as they try to figure out what exactly went wrong.
Again, for me, it's just so impressive every time how patient they are when it comes to even that post plant. Again, you know, they're not getting their duelist to overextend towards the defensive spawn to be like, okay, we'll just try and kill you on that post plant. We're seeing the fact that they're sending that jet even to watch their six, to watch that flank from the south. They're really making sure they're covering every single angle. And as you say, having all of that util in pocket to prevent, you know, you don't have to peek when you've got that kind of util. And it's something that you often see a lot of teams, to be honest, mess up with. They get too fruity with the idea that they want to get all these kills under their belt, when realistically in the post plant, you just got to delay that retake. You've just got to delay that spike from being diffused. That's all you have to do. They played that so well. I'm really curious what your opinion is on the fact that, you know, for the attacking side especially, we do have a lot of utility here, which I've touched on this previously, with how small the map is and these tight little choke points. the utility really favors them. But on the side of the defense, do you think that composition has the same kind of vibe where, you know, you can use all that utility to spread across a larger amount of space? Or do you think maybe they would have been better to pick some different ops there, agents there?
I think that definitely the initiator pick is the one that I'm questioning the most because, you know, it seems like they have been going in for a little bit of that retake setup, like I mentioned initially, with that double controller, trying to play for some map control. But it's really hard to take map control when you have just that one initiator coming in. It's making their job certainly harder for sure. And the problem with the Sova and the Jet combination on this particular map is that it's really difficult to take so much of space, especially when you have like a breach on the opposite side. Like you can recon for your Jet, especially on this defensive side. You can recon for your Jet. You can drone, but yeah, overall it's just more difficult, I believe, for Ghost to be able to do as much as Chips is able to comparatively, considering that they do have that KO and the breach. I think that so far the round where they've been able to keep the numbers even, or at least have an advantage, was that only round that they were able to win on that retake setup. So they really have to figure out how exactly they can try to confirm these picks right off the bat first. Like if they can get a little bit of information, really take control on one side of the map, because I think that statistically, or at least not statistically, my bad, but strategically, this map, it's a little bit like Haven, you know, you really, as a defender, you want to try and take control of one side of the map, clean it out, get a couple of picks, or at least make sure nobody's there and try to reinforce the other based off the back of that. So I think that's one of the things that the defense has to try and book up with. Aw.
It is very cute that they're doing a little heart there. Thank you, Crisps. A nice little heart thing. I think we did just get confirmation that we're just waiting for Chips to get back in the lobby because they did have a little bit of a power cut there. So we will be bringing the action to you very, very quickly. For the meantime, thank you. Thank you so much for the lovely hearts on the walls. Very cute indeed.
Thank you for Observer as well for being able to catch that perfectly. Delay for them.
Yeah, big ups to production, actually. Massive big ups to production. They're doing a great job this evening, and we love them lots. I think for me personally, like, I'm very excited to see how this kind of setup is also going to translate onto that defense, you know, for the side of Grocery Store. I think there's a lot of utility there to actually really hold back any push if they want it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that we'll be seeing a lot. Okay, we're gonna be seeing a lot of aggression coming out of them as well, because like we've talked about initially, that breach in the beginning of the first couple seconds of the round can really help buy a lot of space. I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing like 3 players for the side of Grocery Store right now when they switch over to defense, just continuing as they are right now for that kind of attacking cosplay. I think that on this map in particular, that's what I really like to see. You see these early engagements quite often if a team isn't going for a set default play, and it can really take people off guard. Oh, very nice. I haven't seen this before actually on this map.
Yeah, me neither. Run, go back. that was very cool. I mean, it's a beautiful map, to be fair. Like, I think especially when you consider, you know, the almost irony of this map for me is, again, its size when you do have those 3 sites, because, you know, there's only, well, previously there was only one other map that had 3 sites, and it's massive. It is one of the biggest maps. So much control you have to get. This, in theory, I think is a lot more balanced. I really love the fact that they've made it small to give that kind of element of balance to it. But already we're still seeing this kind of similar theme of it being maybe a bit more weighted towards the attackers, depending on that utility that they're choosing to bring. So, ooh, spicy stuff indeed.
Personally, I'm just here for the colors because this map, it's kind of like I grew up in like the region where this map is set up in. Well, not grew up, but I spent like the last 10 years there. So personally, for me, I like that they managed to really capture the vibes of the region, so as to speak, and that they really managed to bring in the serenity that, you know, these kind of South Indian temples tend to usually have. They're always like these tanks and stuff with lotuses, and I think that a lot of it is like they managed to get that actual feeling that this temple does provide, minus the gunshots and of course random utility being tossed around. But you know, aside from that, the colors, everything, I think it is arguably one of the most beautiful maps right now. I can't think of one that's actually prettier, especially if you look at that tree area. You know, if you go towards that A side, and you know, behind those secret doors, those rotating doors, you have like yeah, I see you, Harbor. Yeah, apart from these carvings, though, like I said, that tree in particular, if you don't have your Valorant on some weird color settings and you go to like the Observer and you look at the leaves falling from the top, it's really pretty.
Oh, wow. Big ups to the developers and the map designers, to be honest. That's all I have to say. What a gorgeous game. Gorgeous map. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm starting to sound like Gordon Ramsay. Gorgeous.
I think Gordon Ramsay is more like who let him cook in an angry voice than gorgeous most of the time. But
I
that might
think
just
of
be
that
me.
one where he's like looking after the child chef, and he's like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah,
lovely,
that's cute.
sweetie."
I've only seen that in the meme context. Like he says to the
Yeah,
child, like,
yeah.
"Oh, lovely, oh, sweetie," and to the other guy, he's like, "You absolute beep beep beep."
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
dog
can't.
please or something. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't channel Gordon Ramsay in his full glory on this because it is we're a bit more diplomatic here.
Careful.
I mean, that in itself, look at that. Like, the view there is just gorgeous. A little pink glass, but whew, classy glass.
When this map came out, I was watching Average Jonas, I believe, like the hour it got released on that
Watching
beta.
here.
The first thing he looks at this and he's like, "Yeah, I can do lineups for this." That's his first thought, and he does manage to do it like right off the bat. Gets it like in two drops or something insane.
I think this is the thing, isn't it? I don't know. To be honest, again, going back to this season, I've just realized something very spicy indeed. Regardless of the outcome of this best of three, right?
Watching here.
I am still totally excited because it's either
Careful.
way a revenge tour. Either way,
Tell
it's a
me more.
revenge tour. Last season's winners, Ashante, they are still obviously in the tournament, but at the moment we have the other finalists, Boosted Eagles, as I said, they're currently playing as OnlyFans, and they were very, very good, very sweaty. Lavrita was in that roster. Of course, we're now seeing Lavrita within Grocery Store, who previously beat that ex-roster of Lavrita's 2-1 in the previous weeks. That's going to be an interesting matchup if that happens again, because of course OnlyFans, they are in the lower bracket still. They can fight their way through to the finals. There is the potential of, Lavrita and co going against OnlyFans in the finals. Again, unless Ashente do their little Ashente action. I mean, that's always going to be a potentiality. I think everyone saw how absolutely disgusting Ashente were last season. At the same time, though, it's, as I say, my personal feelings, I love Plymouth Quokkas so much. I really do. It's such a cute name. The Plymouth uni in general have always been very, very supportive when it comes to the college esports side of the UK too. So I know they're in good hands. And again, the fact that they've made it to playoffs so many seasons, I really just want them to shine at some point. Could this be the season? Of course, currently at the moment, we are seeing that they are, 4-1 down, but it's only the first map. Map. So anything can happen. It's just always, I get so emotionally invested with the teams, I swear to God. I just want, if I could have everyone win, I would. I get so emotionally invested.
I completely feel that. Like almost every single event I cast, I'm like, oh no, oh yeah, they won. And I'm like, oh no, they lost. And then, oh yeah, they won, but oh no, they lost. I've been there. But like you mentioned, they might be 4-1 down, but this isn't gonna be their map pick. So you do have map number 2, which is where they should be able to, so as to speak, strut their stuff, even if this one isn't looking that great. At the start, the thing is on a map like Fracture, like we talked about, a little bit attacker-sided, very attacker-sided, honestly. So they might be able to turn things around, even if they don't quite catch up this half, of which there's still a possibility. The next half, they might be able to really be able to bring it back and maybe even take us to overtime. I'm not gonna be jinxing it or getting ahead of myself because I've been there before. Cast your curse, etc. But yeah. While we wait, though, we can talk a little bit about the other maps that we are going to be heading into. I believe map number 2, chosen by Quokkas, is going to be Icebox, which always a classic, always a favorite. And
one of my faves.
Yeah, I do like that, especially again since Harbor came into the meta. You are seeing a little bit more versatility, so as to speak, heading into this. And of course, map number 3 is going to be Pearl. So personally, I've never actually casted a series where we've had both Lotus and Pearl come up like in a best of 3. So no. I'm very happy about it.
This is the thing, when it comes to these best of 3s, people want to play it safe. They want to be like, okay, we'll just go for the standard Olden Goldies. It's your bread and butter, as I call it. It's the Plowman sandwich. You know what you're going to get. Yeah, the Havens, etc. For me personally, the fact that they've chosen from the get-go in these playoffs, they've been like, do you know what? Actually, let's be a bit spicy with it. Let's take them to Lotus. Let's take them to Pearl. Pearl, again, it's not... Yes, it's technically not it's not the newest map, but it's still relatively new, and it's still got a very different energy compared to the rest of those maps. Again, a kind of crushed, smaller map, really really love to see people get aggressive with it. You know, for like ages, we had that kind of Fade KO combination where you could just absolutely spam that utility together. We think of the twists and turns in Pearl. Mwah, it's like the best thing in the world for me to witness. I'm always here for it. Last season, I begged that we'd see those Fade KO combos. We didn't quite see it. I think we did actually go to Pearl, and I was saying like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for them to do that kind of thing. But they played it a little bit safer, a little bit more unusual, a little bit more creative. We didn't really see any kind of standard picks that we were seeing, you know, it kind of in like that T1, T2 unit. But because they were able to bring their own creativity to it, it made a very entertaining game indeed. And again, last season was so entertaining. I expect this season to be just the same as well. We are really, really in for some prime games right now.
Yeah, Prime Games. I see what you did there, Grace. I see what you did there. But well done again. Once again, thank you to our sponsors for making this possible and for supporting not just us but also these wonderful teams who really do deserve an opportunity to shine. I think personally that's my favorite thing about Valorant. I think before this, you know, I've played a couple of games before, not as much as you with that R6 Grace, but I think that for me in particular, I've never been able to find such a welcoming community as I have like with Valorant having their game changers circuit and tournaments like these. Like I've never seen anything like it, and it's honestly just made my last couple of years so absolutely fantastic, and I'm really grateful to be a part of something like that. But you know, I think for back to this particular thing we were talking about Pearl, I believe that was the map that made me really start playing that initiator role, because before that I was like, yeah, sometimes I feel so but once Pearl came out, I was just like, yeah, time to go ham on that Fade. And I think that for me, play wise personally, she's my favorite agent to play on the particular map, like especially towards that art area. You know, you have that little kind of like hole in the wall, and you can like throw your Haunt through it, and it just immediately reveals everybody, and you take an Odin. And well, okay, I can't afford an Odin because I'm running on broke, but just like the kind of like weird kind of lineups that you have for Fade all around the way. And of course, I think that one of the VCT tournaments you saw even like a little bit of a cringe TikTok play coming out of one of the Paper X boys, one of my favorite teams. You know, there was like that double satchel towards that long over the wall. They throw like a showstopper and it hit like 3 people, and everybody was like freaking out. So I like that map because there are a lot of these really goofy and hilarious plays that people can pull off.
That's it, goofy, and that's the vibe I'm always here for. I want to. Yes, it's one thing to go and you're dropping like, you know, double digits. If you're able to get these goofy, fun plays, it's way more impressive to me sometimes.
I definitely agree. I hope we're going to be seeing some of that today. And talking about today, I think that we do have our game back. So thank you everyone for waiting so long. Now though, it's going to be Sacred on the lurk, able to find 2 before finally being shut down. Remember, this is going to be a kind of buy round coming out for that defense here. They have invested some stuff into this, and well, with that spike plant going down, like we talked about earlier, we saw that little bit of aggression coming out of the defenders. They kind of picked, though they ended up losing more than they gained over that, and now they're in this retake position once again, knowing that all 4 of these players are going to be positioned towards the site area.
Ooh, 100. Ooh, this is where things get a little. Oh no, you're not aware. Chips falls down. That's so unfortunate. Jay, you sneaky prawn. Lavrita gets the trade throwers run. It takes down Packet of crits. A little bit of chaos as the smoke is there, covering Balloon, and manages to get 1, gets 2, and that's a free K for the round. That defuse can go down. Goodness me. A little bit funky at the end there.
Yeah, that heated up really quickly. For a second, it was just like us talking about how nice these maps are and how nice everybody is, and suddenly it's just gonna be a full-on battleground across the map. But you know, I really like what we saw to the defenders. Like we talked about, a bit of a half buy. They did invest a couple of rifles, but you know, they go in for that early aggression. They get that first pick, and of course, just that sneaky play, like you mentioned, coming out of Jay. I think they expected everybody to be coming for that flag, but instead Jay was able to get that kill, and just that pincer maneuver, so as to speak, it really was able to like confirm them that round.
100%. And again, sometimes it's interesting to see how the momentum changes after a bit of a break like that, but certainly so very good stuff to see there. Grocery store managing to clap back a little bit, managing once again to get into that execute, but the retake came through thick and fast from Plymouth. Good stuff to see from them. Trying to get it more towards even Stevens. They're now 2-4. Once again, Zach was starting to see this quite before the storm. Looks like they're approaching A finally, though.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh, Sakura starting things off with a beautiful shot. Well, it wasn't the cleanest, but it was still a confirmed kill. Chip still with the Blaze Storm, just slicing and dicing players up right now. That's going to completely open up the A side for business. You know, the last 5 rounds, I think that we did see that C execute coming into play, but now they've changed things around, and it does seem like the defense, they just weren't ready for this kind of quick push onto the C side.
100%. And again, look at all this positioning they have, even the Bladestorm on board to try and get a little bit nasty with it as they make their way up the top. This could be nasty. There we go. Chips, there's one. Can you get the second? Got a bit of a duo swing there from Sakura. They do indeed land their shot onto Luna. Jay getting held back a little bit with that util. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable here. I don't think they can go for it, to be honest, Zach.
Yeah, their economy not in the greatest place, and in a 1v5 with the clock having ticked as far as it has. Look, I'm not one to shut down anybody's streams, but at some point you got to sink back to reality, and Jay is gonna do exactly that. They do, yeah, a little bit of a very sad Bravo we hear coming out of the chamber. I haven't heard that in a while because it's been a while since I've seen chamber at all. But you know, just a very sad Bravo. They will be able to hold on to their gun. Also, one off of that tour de force, that ultimate that makes people quiver in their pants, even with the nerf that came in recently.
Yeah.
So I think that we might be seeing that come into play, especially if they can get their hands on an orb, possibly towards that B side. But even otherwise, that's a gun that a player can pick up in that case. Right now, though, once again, the economy looking absolutely bonkers right now for these attackers. I think they won almost 5 rounds in a row, with the exception of those 2. And yeah, like we talked about, it is going to be this tour de force coming into play in this particular round towards mid. Though it does seem like nobody's taking the bait there. It's just going to be C side once again.
You should run.
Again, a full stack collapse because indeed they do have that lockdown and they're gonna use it. So here we go. Can Chips get stuck in though? Util being sent her way to try and hold them back a little bit. They are going to try and give that up though due to the lockdown. So that's going to open up that breathing space. And that spike can start getting plonked down firmly on this site.
Once again, it is going to be a couple of players detained here, though there's not going to be a push coming in from the attackers. They're happy to just like let things play out. That recon bolt's going to be instantly broken, not really giving away information as to where anybody is positioned right now. The Jonas will invest it for some kind of information, will spot out one player and tag them, but aside from that, not much info that's really working for them. However, it's going to be the KO pushing a little bit too far. Packet of Crisp being kind of bunched down on Chips, though, being able to find a trade of their own, and all the lurk. Sakura is going to be finding even more value right now, taking down one, looking for more before Jay finally shuts things down. 2v3 right now. The tour de force still going to be active, and it's just going to be a pincer between these last couple of players. Spike has to start getting diffused right now. Bonsai able to get it to half, though the flank is going to be there. It's all down to just the Sova, and with that clock ticking as far as it has, it's not going to be happening in another round for the attackers. 6-2.
Ooh. That was very risky biscuits for Sakura right there, though. Goodness me, again. What do you do in that situation? You have to try and go for it. You hear them attempting that defuse. You've just got to go for it. Despite, again, the numbers, a slight advantage towards the defense there. You just have to go for those plays. Gets by one. It scares them enough in a way to get them to pull off firmly, though. So it did work out well for them. Again, just a really good attacking half at the moment for the side of Grocery Store.
Yeah, I do agree there. They're looking extremely dominant on this particular map pick, and honestly, it's a pleasure to watch them in action right now. Once again, they're going to be switching up things a little bit, going for this A push, though. You know, I think that instant aggression is going to be expected and dealt with, so pretty cool to watch out for. However, though, Rantaro is going to be able to strike back, find that refrag, and it's still going to be down to a 4v4 at the end of it, though. Look at that HP on that KO. Dear me, that's not very pretty.
No. Not pretty at all. Could be used for a bit of the old baiting later on there if you want to be really fruity with it. We'll see how that goes. And once again, it looks like they're going for the C collapse. Fast and furious. Let's get stuck in. Are they aware of Jay? Most likely not. Jay going for a little bit of a rat play, a bit of a warning shot, but does indeed fall back. Again, giving up this site, creating the opportunity, the breathing space for that plant to go down.
Spike planted.
Oh no, a little bit of a off moment there from Lunar, as it was going to be the kill confirmed by Lorita there. However, though, that's a nutty shard coming out of Run, able to find out Rantaro before finally being shut down by Packet of Crisps himself. Goes though on this flank, has to check your corners. You know, you're going to be into paying for it. However, that Phantom is going to come out on top over that Bulldog. It's going to come down to a 1v1 right now. The Toaster is broken indeed, and it's Chamber versus Breach right now. Rolling Thunder is going to be online once again, though, off the back of that kill. And now it's going to be coming down to the wire. Jay hasn't even been able to get half the defuse, and now they're going to have to try and stick it here. But you can't do that when there's a Breach watching that ankle. Fantastic round coming out of Loverina there. 3 kills on them and 7 for the side of these attackers. Oof, spicy.
Again, because the map is so small, they're really able to just keep so much utility in pocket for that post plan. It is so incredible that they're not getting silly sausages with it. They're just being like, we don't need to use it, save it all for that post plan. And every single time, like how many times now have we seen Lavrita do that, where they're just like, oh, there we go. I hear you going for it. I'm just going to plonk my util down. Pull you off that. Again, it's very, very difficult to deal with that kind of situation. I appreciate the fact that Jay still tried to go for that final pick, trying to take you down a little bit, but it was a close but no cigar moment already. Look how fast and furious things are getting here. Loads of cover being dumped out just to try and delay these gunfights from happening. The bullets firing in both directions is getting a little bit chaotic, to be honest, Zach. No immediate attempt at a collapse. Is Harbor Util really pushing it back? This is incredible work from Plymouth already, delaying these fast collapses that we've previously seen from Grocery Store.
Not only that, but they're also going to be pushing them into the loving, well, embrace of Jay here, though that flash is going to be perfect, pushing them off the angle. No operator action coming in quite yet. And in this meantime, once again, it is going to be Sakura being able to hold down this little position. However, Ghost was expecting it, not quite finding the timing there. And for once, it is going to beat the attackers on the back foot, so as to speak. 4v5 right now as these defenders look to go in for this retake. It is going to be Chips trying to play aggressive on site, trying to find a pick or two to at least equalize these numbers right now. The Recon both going to be giving away their exact location though, and Ghost is still on the hunt, able to find a second as well. 2 players left in this 2v4 to try and prevent this diffuse from coming through. Chips still on site, holding down the corner. They might not expect them. Able to get the first, able to get the second as well. Huge kill, and back down to this 2v2. All they have to do is play for the post plan.
100%. This delay is, again, it's all about that delay with these lot. Like, oh my goodness, they're not going to be able to get in now. That defuse can't be stuck. We even have a bit of cheeky util being used there at the end, just as a bit of a warning. Once again, Grocery Store padding out those rounds. Right there. This is where I get a bit worried regarding this map, to be honest. Again, the fact that we've had such a strong attack come through. We look at that util, right, Zach, how that's going to translate to the defense. Potentially, we could call it as a little bit of a Grocery Store map at this point.
Yeah, they're definitely looking very, very comfortable in all of these aisles, just being able to pick up kills, go shopping at their leisure. And now, you know, there's going to be those 2 guns that they saved for that the defense saved in the last round. That operator as well still online. And again, though, just the precautionary util coming out of this particular team, it is able to find so much value. Bonsai not quite able to connect onto that shot. And now, after getting that fill, they are looking at, okay, you know what? We know that for a fact that there's at least a couple of players here looking at the utility. Let's just try to go somewhere else across the map. Once again, the cascade from the harbor, trying to go for a little bit of B aggression, but B is not going to be where that hit is coming, Grace. It does look to be A, that the attackers have set their sights on. There's nobody at home. They just have it for free.
Yeah, and rightly so. I think a bit of a late realization there, but we do see that Plymouth are going for that long rotation to try and get the higher ground here as that collapse comes through. There we go. Run does get 1 for their trouble, though. Chips has fallen down, but again, all this util, the lockdown coming through. Potentially a little bit of overkill, to be honest, Grocery Store, but we do respect it, and that's going to push back that defense from the retake. And again, in my opinion, how do you try and fight back from this? You've got to try and win your ones best as possible. This Harbor utility as Ghost takes down the Vrita too. This is at least a promising start, but the timer is ticking. Rantaro falls down. That's another for Ghost. Run can swing around the corner. There we go. Zaka falls. The packet of crisps is just too quick with it. Ghost with the 3K to finish things off. Will they make it? Yes, they will. Goodness me, Zach.
Oh, that was a really, really nice retake coming out of them. I think that once again, it was just them being able to, on this A side, take like that multi-pronged approach. You can like sort of push through this area of the map. We saw Ghost making a play, being able to get 3 off of it. And in the meantime, towards the other side, it was, I believe, Run being able to find that first crucial kill onto Chips, but not just that. Gregson Pandemonium on site, getting that second as well. So the fact that they were able to just kind of stay alive, get that numbers advantage, and go in for that retake despite that ultimate lockdown being committed was very, very nicely played out of them. If they can get to 8-4, honestly, they're not doing too bad on this map. And with that operator still being in their position, I think it's definitely a likely possibility. Once again, though, it's going to be this early aggression. Chips watching for it. I don't know if they're going to be quite ready for it, though, as Ghost finds 2 somehow. Oof.
Oof, indeed. Already a massive fraggy shutdown coming through from the side of Plymouth. They've started to understand the aggression when it comes to these fast and furious approaches and collapses. Again, maybe a little too late, but again, as you say, if they can get this to 4-8, oof, well, Sakura has something to say about that. Bonsai will indeed fall down. What's going out to try and defend this as best as possible? Again, if you don't have the firepower, just try and rely on that utility as best as you can. Sakura, beautiful shot there onto Luna. Another one onto Run, already on a 3K. Can they get the A-sack? That is a question on my lips.
Looking at the positioning, they might be making just a little bit of a questionable play. They're looking to go for B instead, but now they know exactly where J is positioned on this chamber, probably expecting to rotate back towards A, which they're absolutely right about. They're going to be going for the C push instead, still going to have both that breach and that killjoy utility available for that post plan and J. Well, they swapped out that operator for the Phantom, so this 1v2 is looking just a little bit easier. At least they have that kind of gun that you really want to have in these 2v1 situations, especially if your opponents are going to be playing together. Right now, though, I think the water sound is going to possibly give away some information, or at least the sound of the spike going down. But yeah, for the side of the attack, at least they have gotten the spike down without much ado. Well, if you look at the position, once again, they're happy to like kind of just play it together, play it by ear, and try to trade each other out more than anything, which is, I think, the best way to play these 2v1s.
Teleport's ready.
100%. Quite like a python in the grass now, as Jay really has to try and win their ones. Again, if you're in these 1vx situations, you have to try and bait them into 1 versus 1s. Voids for utility there, does shoot out that bot, so that's going to give a little bit of leeway as to where you are. Again, the utility being saved by the attack here. They are absolutely spamming it towards you. They're not going to be able to go for the defuse now. They're going to have to get this final kill, but they can't. Lavrita, beautiful trade there coming through. Again, just the positioning every single time by Grocery Store.
I think that
this map is just gorgeous for them. Goodness me.
Yeah, they've definitely put in the work, but yeah, you know, of all of these rounds, I think they managed to convert, like, this is the second 2v4 that they're converting, and it's a testament to not only how good these players are on an individual level, but also the fact that they're able to, like, you know, keep calm and be like, you know, they don't just panic, like, oh no, it's a 2v4, we're gonna be losing this round. Instead, they put their heads together, they're able to, like, really make it work. It's just phenomenal coming out of them. But right now, this is going to be a bit of pressure on the shoulders of the Heimat Quakas. They are down 6 rounds. This pistol round is going to be where it starts. If they can get this, certainly the score is going to be 9-5. Eventually, it's not looking too bad. And the comeback, well, that's a start. If they want to have a chance of stealing this map pick away from the side of their opponents, the grocery store themselves.
Yeah, at the moment, looks like they're kind of slowly but surely potentially going to fall into the opening arms of their opposition. The attempt and approach to A, then again, lots of utility being dumped out already on both sides. Percy up for a bit more aggression when it comes to these pistol rounds, but potato, if you've got the util to use, it can save some lives in the long run.
Absolutely ratty corner being held down by a packet of crisps. And Rantaro in the meantime trying to hold it down, but the headshot is not going to be able to quite confirm the kill. Numbers advantage swinging in favor of these attackers right now. The Sakura still on the side. Not if they have anything to say about it. The shot goes wide. You do not miss on Sakura, because that is going to be what happens to you. And now the timing not exactly in the favor of Lunar. It's all down to Bonsai. A 1v3. Things fall apart, and it's going to be the side of Grocery Store who have gone shopping and will be walking away with double digits after that.
Yeah, Sakura going a little bit large there, a little bit large throughout the entire map. 21 kills on the dot. Fully padding out those double digits, the things you love to see. Interesting, really, from the Killjoy, but again, the things you love to see, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure. Exactly. Like you mentioned, as a Killjoy player myself, it just personally warms my little heart whenever I do see Killjoys popping off the back of that. It is going to be the very, very fleshed out vibe coming in for the Spectres. I think I see a couple of Bulldogs there as well. And again, just the fact that this Cascade is really able to let this team get so much space onto this A side for free. You know, the thing is, it completely hides the line of sight. So these defenders, they don't know if it's going to be the push towards A or if they're going to be going somewhere else on the map. It causes a little bit of havoc. They took advantage of it last time to be able to get those first couple of kills, but after that it seemed like their mid-round adaptation, it wasn't quite up to the mark. It kind of fell apart for them, unfortunately. Now though, it is going to be this C side and B side where the waters are being tested. So as to speak, they've already managed to take a decent amount of control, though they haven't made their way onto site quite yet, so that might be just a little bit of a problem, especially where the Omen is playing. Gets two. The spray down is nasty from Rantaro, and now these last two players, they're gonna be just falling back, holding on for dear life.
One enemy remaining.
There we go. Rantaro's terror shut down. VALORANT kind of had it out themselves. That was just
Gun here.
Nasty.
I'm shaking my head. That was just disgusting from Rantaro. That was, oh my goodness. I'm like fanning myself right now. It's got a little bit hot in here. It's got a little bit sweaty for me, Zach. Goodness me. Edging closer and closer, though, towards that match point.
Just gonna be 1 round away from match point, 2 away from sealing in the deal here. The gun advantage finally gonna be kicking in for these defenders. They have to make this work. The pressure is completely on them right now. I don't know if they're gonna be able to deal with it with any vestige of grace right now. I mean, we have you on the caster's desk, of course, but aside from that, not much grace that seems to be given to them for this particular one. They are looking to get a little bit spicy on the C side, where there is not only a Killjoy waiting for them, but also all the utility that Killjoy has. Ghost will be seeing the turret, trying to break these alarm bots right now, not quite able to find all of them, and there is backup. The cavalry has been called in as well to boot, so the KO might be a difference maker. And in the meantime, it's very, very disciplined coming out of this. They have rotated off the A side, but still have players on B that can quickly make their way back over.
No, 100%. I think discipline really has been the name of the game on both sides. Again, we've seen so much use of utility instead of taking these engagements, instead of going for these swings, instead of, you know, going for this aggression that you do often see, especially in these close quarters engagements with maps like this, maps that have those tighter corners for you to get a little bit fruity with. Patience is indeed a virtue, and these teams are feeling virtuous. Well, as I say that, look at this. All this util getting dumped out on both sides. It's going to get nasty. This execute being delayed for as long as they possibly can. And as you just heard 30 seconds to go, Bonsai gets one. The spray and pray around the corner as Luna gets a second. Goodness me, this defense getting whittled down. Could this be a cheeky little execute win for the side of Plymouth? Jay wants to make that third of a chips and packet of crisps come up large. And there we go, as you say, the spike is down. 8 seconds to go. It's not going to happen. Not like this. That was so close. Ghost gets one. But there we go. Before I get my words out, they don't need that spike. Ghost can just go in and kill everyone indeed. Spooky stuff, Zach.
Yeah, Ghost definitely showing up as to why they are on that jet roll. I think that at the end of the day, they didn't need that spike plant just for the money that it brought in, considering that they did lose 3 players. But all's well, no damage has been done too much. You're going to see a couple of players on light armor, Bulldog as well. But for the side of these attackers, they are still going to be able to afford something. And Ghost is only going to be one off that Blade Storm as well. In fact, they have a lot of ultimates pretty close to coming online, which we might be seeing in this particular round. The Reckoning from that Harbor for one thing, 2 off the Tour de Force as well for Chamber, and now this 0 point being broken early is going to give some information right off the bat, though. That's going to be a headshot onto Chips. This A site off that, they're looking to push into it as far as they can get. 3 players they're looking to stop them, and I think they've gotten the information. I mean, in the meantime, especially with Jay getting that kill onto Sakura there, the push is out just a little bit too much for comfort. They know that C is looking relatively much easier to take.
Right before the storm, as I say, that Rantaro nasty little shot onto Jay there. No immediate trade coming through just yet as well. So again, a little bit of a frisky one. The plant is going down. Suicide Grocery Store have the util in pocket to try and deal with it. They're going to try and send out a few of these bolts just to get a little bit of information. Patience of Saints yet again, but again the timer is ticking down. You have to try and make these plays. You have to try and go for it. You have to win your ones. They can't let any more of these rounds slip away from them when they're so close to this match point. They want to get stuck in, and here we go. Stuck in they will get. Bonsai and Run 1 apiece as Montero takes down Run in retaliation, and it's getting a little bit fruity on both sides. Ghost takes down a packet of crisps, and now it's very awkward for Lavrita as they desperately try to try and cling on to this round, but they're just going to pull back. Again, Zach, there's nothing you can do in that situation. It's better to just, you know, lick your wounds, pull back safely. We'll get them next time.
Completely agree there, and yeah, at least they managed to hold on to this Phantom. But aside from that, the economy looking very, very dicey for their team right now. You're gonna, in fact, be seeing just a ghost coming through a packet of crisps, and for a team that was able to buy in every single round of the previous half, being broke in this game is gonna be a bit of a novel situation for them. For the side of the attack, though, definitely been charging up some of those ultimates. We don't see that reckoning like we talked about, getting committed in that last round to be able to confirm it, but still, they do have that turret, of course, if they want it. From the shadows as well, if Lunar wants to make a quick rotate, and of course only 2 away from that Hunter's Fury as well, might be a bit of a difference maker. In fact, it is going to be the ultimate popped right off the bat though. Chips, it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade once again though on the seaside. Sacra unfortunately being shut down. That's going to make it once again a quick rotation towards that seaside. Really nice plays from Jay.
Yeah, Run plunking it down now. It's going to be a retake once again. Already, okay, fair enough. We are starting to see. Perhaps this map is still a little bit attacker-sided. Again, with those free site maps, we do tend to see this, but certainly very punchy on both sides. A lot of util being used everywhere to try and make it a little bit more even Stevens, but still, because of this, we're seeing the attack really pull it back now. There we go, beautiful shot by Jay. That Chris falls and no immediate trade. Well, as I say that, very well, Lavrita trade coming through, trying to whittle down the side of Plymouth. Luna falls 2. Going for grocery store right now, you have to probably just pull back. You've accepted that you can't win this. This is the thing that I'm starting to wonder, Zach. How do you think that they can go for these retakes a little bit smoother? Like, what are they... Is it that they aren't just winning their ones? Is it that they need to be a bit more aggressive with it?
I think that not winning the ones is a huge factor because in both of these previous rounds, we did see Sacra and Jay take a little bit of a head-off fight towards the seaside. Both times, Jay was able to walk away really reducing the number of defenders available and forcing them to kind of play a bit more cautiously. We saw the same kind of mistakes being committed in the previous half as well. So Sacra will have to try and possibly play it a little more cautiously because Jay is on the flank watch, dedicatedly on the flank watch. But yeah, aside from that, they really want to try and keep these player advantages in their favor if they're trying to go in for the retake. I think that's what it's basically going to come down to. Jay, off the back of those last couple of round wins in a row, will be having enough money to buy that operator. This time, though, it seems like these defenders, they aren't going to be biting. They have their full buy. They know they have some ultimates and some utility to work with. They're happy to just try and go in for a retake. It's just silence across the map right now. No information garnered really from either side, though. That harbor wall being put up is going to give away the position, along with the Hunter Sphere being invested on Sacra as well. They're barely managing to stay alive, do manage to, in fact, hold down the fort, and now the skill utility on side is going to be able to buy so much time here, still holding it down, even though they're half HP. Will be, in fact, spotting the second player, though not quite able to connect that kill. The rest of them, they're going to be opening the door and trying to go towards this B side instead, where there is going to be some backup, some cavalry available. 30 seconds left.
This is it. This is it. Chips on the flank, but I don't think they're going to be aware. If Chips goes around this corner, gets his one, that's going to open up so much breathing room out of nowhere. Gorgeous stuff. Jay is going to fall down. That call out should come through, though. But again, nothing you can really do when Chips is feeling themselves. Run falls 2. As you see, they're going to try and attempt for that A site. That quick rotation there from the Omen. They're going to plunk that spike down. It is a retake yet again, but certainly this time they have the numbers advantage to go for this retake.
Ghost going to be holding an absolutely nasty angle. If they don't clear this or they're not methodical about it, it might lead to a bit of an issue. However, though, the double peek is too much for Ghost to really handle here. 2 players left right now. Make that one. It's all down to just Lunar in a 1v3 to prevent this from going to match point. But it does seem like the grocery store will not be tonight. They really want to take a break and go, before that map to go for some shopping. Because right now they are looking phenomenal. 12-6. One away from sealing the deal.
Match point.
As you just heard, match point. This has just been a really, really good map for the side of grocery store. It is really impressive stuff. Again, though, this is a best of 3. We do still have the potential of 1 or 2 more maps. We could still see Plymouth take the second map and pull us all the way to that glorious 3rd map. But for now, grocery store, Lotus certainly is their playing field.
Yeah, they look super comfortable on this particular map. Just able to, you don't see them letting a little bit, confused towards this defender side, but they seem to have picked things up once again. This time it's not going to be an extreme push coming out of them, but more like, okay, a bit of a mistimed recon out of the attackers. But aside from that, still going to be them just trying to hold down these crossfires and these lanes. The Sova drone will spot out chips in that particular corner, forcing the dash out of them. Still though, 5 players left alive, and they managed to burn down a nice solid 30 seconds off that clock. The operator as well from Sacra, not quite able to find the shot here, though they are going to be able to stay alive, and it does seem like the spike itself is heading towards this C site instead after all that noise towards A, where there is still a player lurking. Look at Ghost here.
I love that. Just ready and waiting, just in case anyone does get ballsy
no.
with it. Speaking of ballsy with it, there we go. Lavrita winning their ones. Rantaro falls though as Bonsai wins a one of their own. They can try and get some positioning, but there we go. Zach, goodness me. The util dump comes through and that spike can go down. And once again, the potential of a clunky retake as a look at this util dump. Chip doesn't know what to do with himself. Sakravo trying to go for a cheeky pop shot there. What's going to go out just to try and give a little bit of breathing room. Try and extend a little bit towards them. The Blade Storm, it misses. Run takes down Chip. So that's about ult denied. That defuse is getting stuck. Are they going to try and stick it even more? Jay ready and waiting, just trying to prevent this from happening. But there we go. The lockdown is coming through. Desperate times call for desperate measures. They want this map over. But Plymouth are not going to give it to them.
One bullet per enemy.
Oh, that was so expensive for both of these teams. I think they sunk everything they added to the lockdown as well, coming off the back of Sacra. Operator being taken offline by looking very, very sloppy for these defenders here right now. We do see a judge in fact coming out of Sacra. I wouldn't knock that weapon, I'll be honest. It's even more dangerous than a rifle in the right angle. But yeah, ultimates for either side. They managed to burn through the candle on both ends right there. The Blade Storm gonna be still online for Ghost, but aside from that and from the shadows from Rantaro, nothing super major to watch out for in this particular round. Like I said, bit of a sloppy buy coming out of this defense right now. In fact, just gonna be a sheriff's online for Chips right now, as once again that cascade, it just lets these attackers get so much information and space for free. Oh wow.
Speaking of information, there we are. The intel dart goes out. Despite the attempt at cover, you can still go for the shots. Run taking that Rantaro though. That's going to open a bit of breathing room, get rid of some of those smokes on the board as well. So again, we will think about the breathing room that we need to see on both sides, to be honest, because again, not really much room gained yet by the attack. Run going down too. That's going to be really unfortunate because that's a lot of utility that can be used to gain this control. My main concern here is we see that little Killjoy lurking there. The flank that could come through again, Zach. Could be a spicy one.
For sure. However, though, B is going to be where this execute does seem to be coming. That 0 point, not going to be able to find the exact numbers here. And Jay will be able to get that wallbang headshot onto a packet of crisps, denying them any crispy shots coming in. 3 players left alive right now. Like we mentioned, a little bit of a Rico round. Oh, the flank, though, is going to be caught in Sukra. He's going to be able to find that kill. Still armed with the judge here. The timing might be really, really awkward right now. Sukra, though, still be able to get the spike and that kill. Finally, Ghost shuts them down, but the damage might be done. 20 seconds after the clock, they have to go in for the Palantirs. All down to Ghost to keep their team alive. Already taking so much damage as the second flank comes in as well. 46 HP and a Dream tries to updraft and then just to keep himself alive. As it is going to be the reload, luckily saving their life right now. Ghost trying to isolate these fights. 17 HP left. Has the Blade Storm, but not going to be able to pop it. And the double swing is going to be too much for them to deal for Lavarita. Once again, just being that clutch player time and time for this team. Get them to 13 and they take Lotus. Wow.
Defenders win.
Wow, indeed. Being the word to use there. Goodness me. Especially at the end there, we were seeing... there's a phrase that some of you viewers may be familiar with. You naughty whackers bonkers, I'm going to say. We saw Sacra pull out the judge. You know, the round before, I was like, desperate times call for desperate measures. We're going to send the lockdown down. And then it came to that round. They were like, you know what? I'm just going to play like a rat with the judge. Granted, in the end, we saw a pistol whip followed up by the judge kill before they were taken out. But yeah, Sacra, you naughty whackers bonkers. And that was just phenomenal. From the side of Grocery Store, again, the fact that they went and chose this map, you can really see why they went in with such a plan here, Zach.
Oh, for sure. Especially on those attacking rounds, they were able to just shine through. But even on defense, they had a little bit of a rough start. You know, they lost a couple of rounds, but they came back into it. And it's very, very fitting that the round that they would win would be off the back of a classic and a judge from Sacro. Just phenomenal plays coming out of them. I believe that they are going to be on top of that kill board. They're four first splits. Not exactly what you expect to see out of your Killjoy. I think that's more than most of the duelists have as well. But yeah, really, really interesting to see that, and just a really, really nasty defensive setup coming out of them. But you know, overall, I think the MVP for this particular team, in my mind, is going to be Lavrita, because so many rounds they might not have gotten the kills, but they were just able to prevent that spike from being even touched for the defuse, just with that rolling thunder, some flashes, some concussion, throw an aftershock in the mix. You see why that breach is such a value pick.
100%. And Lavrita's, again, a player that we've seen do wonderful things in the previous seasons. And again, this is a new roster for them, but they're doing so well, as you say. The way that they were using the utility on the side of Grocery Store was just so phenomenal, especially when it came to those post plants. Again, you don't have to swing if you have that util in pocket. It's something players kind of get a bit silly sausages with all the time. Play it safe, play for that slow burn. You don't have to take these engagements if you don't want to. Zach, I believe we are going to throw to a quick 5-minute break. So do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and non-binary pals. We will see you very, very soon for the gorgeous map of Icebox.
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London. Saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary pals. Welcome back to Amazon University Esports UK and Ireland. We are in week 5, round 4 of the playoffs. We have just seen Grocery Store have a pretty strong performance on Lotus of all maps. We're about to go to Icebox. My name's Grace, and I'm joined here by the wonderful, wonderful Zach. Zach, that first map, goodness me.
Goodness me is a really, really good way to say it. Like, I think all of us needed that break to kind of cool off after that performance that we saw coming out of Grocery Store. You know, they've put in their shop-in runs. They've been preparing really hard for it. It was clear, especially in that first half, 9-3. I think they managed to extend their lead as well with the help of that pistol. You did see a little bit of a comeback foray coming out of their opponents. They managed to bring the score to a 7, but finally off the back of a thrifty, I think that it was Grocery Store being able to lock in their map pick, but that is going to be all that she wrote for map number 1, Lotus. We're going to be heading into Icebox, like you've mentioned.
Yeah.
I think that in particular, this map is the one that honestly I found it like really, really difficult to get excited about it until like Harbor came into the meta, because it was just the same thing again and again. Jet, Sova, Killjoy, Viper, Sage. If a team's feeling a little bit spicy, that you do see a little bit of that Sage being taken out and a KO tossed in instead. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same. But ever since DRX played this map and they pulled out that Harbor, I'm seeing a lot more of my boy coming in. So personally, really, really hoping to see that kind of a variation coming in this map. But what do you think about Icebox?
Icebox is genuinely one of my favorite maps. Again, I know people sometimes, because again, the classic meta that we're still seeing to this day, again, as you say, with the Sages, the Vipers, things like that. I like a good old fashioned kind of black and white approach to things. I don't like too much craziness. I like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're holding off. Again, when it comes to utility use to prevent or enable that collapse, that's really where majority of my excitement tends to occur. And Icebox is perfect for that. You've got this kind of slow build, and then suddenly all this utility comes out to enable that instant almost execute again, unless they're going to do a little bit of a thingy-majig around mid. But usually what you see is people get a little bit quiet, the quiet before the storm, and then the Tempest rolls in, the things we love to see. Very exciting stuff. Again, we did see Harbor in map number 1. We know these teams are comfortable with it. I would not be too surprised if we did see the Harbor too. I completely agree with you. Realistically, though, I think, especially based on previous seasons, they will go with those comfort metas as well, I think, as well. We will see maybe the Viper come out. We will see those Sages come out. If they want to give us the old razzle-dazzle, maybe they will go a little bit, more towards the KO coming through. Again, we did speak before about how I really just prefer the KO utilized with Fade. I think when Fade first came out, it was almost like, this isn't a duelist, but it can almost be used like a duelist if you're going to play it in this very aggressive play style. Consider the utility that Fade has. You can just basically hunt them down, go for those kills, going for those opening engagements, clear so much breathing room for your team. And especially, again, the way that this map is, it's a chunky boy, it's a wide boy, it's a thick boy, So you've got to really try and maintain that pressure from the get-go, open up that breathing room. And I think Fade would be a perfect creative addition if people do want to step away a little bit from what we usually do see.
I have seen some Fade come out on this map, so maybe we'll be in luck tonight, Grace. I think that if you're going to be swapping, especially if you are going to be swapping out that duelist, like we talked about that Jet because of the operator and the get out of jail free card, especially with Chamber being nerfed, does see a lot of love. But sometimes you do see some innovation coming in. That Ray/Fade combo, it does find some love. I think that Fade personally, she's the only reason she's not a favorite on this map is just because of the range of her utility. Because I think that Sova with his recon and drone finds just a little bit more value, especially, you know, considering the propensity of people to just sit in corners, you know, behind the generator on that A side with a judge, or something equally disturbing that we've seen happen too many times in our ranked games. So I think all of us, everybody who's played Icebox has a little bit of PTSD coming in from that. I'm so sorry to do this to everyone.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, more flashbacks rolling in. But aside from that, Icebox, I think, you know, we talked about how this meta has become a little bit, you know, kind of decider for this map for the last year or so. But the one good thing about that is that when you have teams coming in with a mirror comp, they're able to just, it really comes down to who has better synergy, who's able to like hit their shots better on that particular day, and it's more of an even footing, so as to speak, from which we can really judge these teams and what they're bringing to the table. So I think that's definitely 100%. A benefit. The one more thing that I really don't like about Icebox when I'm casting it, but I love playing this, is because I'm a cringe Killjoy player personally. I know lineups for every single map, Viper as well. So yeah, you do see that lineup meta kind of coming into existence on this particular map. And while as a caster, I'm like, okay, that's kind of sad to see. But as a player, I personally love doing that. I managed to get to whatever rank I am, like 2 ranks in a row, just off the back of like duoing with like a Viper player and me playing Killjoy. But anyway, we're gonna be heading into agent selects. You've probably heard enough of us speculating and yapping. Now let's see what exactly is gonna be coming to the table. And I see 4 euros for the side of the attackers. Respect 5. Let's go.
I mean, we did see a little hint of Rooney around maybe the new agent coming out. I mean, again, I don't know if we will actually be seeing that in play. I'm not sure on the ruling about the new agents at the moment, but how do you think that would work on Icebox, actually?
Honestly, I love the new agent. Gecko is just so much fun. He's like a breath of fresh air, and I think that his kit is very, very unique. Of course, we have our adorable little buddy, the wingman itself, just looking absolutely so cute. I never have the heart to shoot it, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm like, yeah, wingman's coming to plant the spike. One of you guys break it, and they're like, it's right in front of you. Do it yourself. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I can't shoot it. But yeah, aside from that, I do like the agent a lot. I think that wingman, while being absolutely adorable, does need a little bit more brain cells, especially on Icebox. I think we were talking about this before we headed into the games for today. You know, on Icebox, a little bit of a fun fact: if you try to plant on top of that box on B side, the wingman will take the spike all the way towards the defender's spawn, walk into the kitchen, and then walk back around because it can't climb the lines. But yeah, no Gecko going to be coming through, sadly, like we talked about. However, though, it's a very, very spicy pick coming out of the defenders. In fact, 2 duelists coming in on them, both Jay and Lunar, switching roles from that chamber and that Omen to this double duelist setup instead. No Killjoy for them. They're pretty confident in that pseudo sentinel ability on the Viper. And for the attackers, well, it's going to be the most meta of all meta Icebox comps that are going to be kicking in.
As you say, it's bread and butter really coming through there from grocery store. But again, given how well they did on that kind of off pick of Lotus for that first opening map, I think it will be interesting to see them go a bit more Stevens, even Stevens, a bit more bread and butter with how they want to approach, especially that attack. We know that they certainly have the patience to keep a lot of utility in their pocket, save it for that collapse. And again, they're positioning in the post plan every single time. They are everywhere. They're holding every single angle. Yes, we mix it with that bread and butter composition. But again, as you say, when we think of the bread and butter compositions, it then comes down to your fundamentals. Are you hitting those trades? Are you watching the flanks? Are you getting the post-plant crossfires set up properly? Yes, they are. 9 times out of 10. The fact that we're seeing 2 duelists on the side of Plymouth is certainly very spicy for me. And I think that if in my opinion, could be a lot of aggression coming through from them. It could show that, again, they're going to get a bit punchy. We might see some overextensions come through at times. Lovely little conga line for us right now.
I'm glad you brought it up. I was just dying over it for the past couple of seconds. And I love casting this kind of Valorant because, you know, while VC2 is all hype and stuff, there's nothing like these really cute moments that make your day just by watching how incredible they are. But yeah, right now, though, it's going to be Sakura swapping over to that Jet immediately being found off guard there. The smoke went up just a couple of seconds afterwards, but the position was already known. It was just a clean headshot through it. Jay as well finding the second. Both of these players for the side of the defenders just popping off and just falling back. I'm surprised Jay didn't take that overkill, but hey, when you're 100 HP as a Reyna with a ghost at the distance, you're definitely going to be able to do the damage and go for that distance.
100%. And once again, we spoke about this a previous round, but these moments of patience, just getting the feelers out. Speaking of feelers, I'm sure you felt that. Love Rita run a beautiful shot there, taking them out. Location is going to be revealed though, so they do know pressure is amounting in mid. These final two players on the side of Grocery Store. What can they do realistically? Again, these pistol rounds are always a difficult one. You don't have that much firepower behind you. Again, we consider the util that they have. They do still have a little bit of the wall. There we go. It is going out now. That's going to, again, prevent a little bit of a rotation from coming through, but ready and waiting for them like a snake in the grass. It is indeed Luna. Here you go. This paint shell's going out. There's a little bit of damage here. Chips is going to be taken out, and packet of crisps. They've got to try and stick this plant, but look at this. The swarm is coming through, and that is indeed, as you just heard, a flawless coming through from Plymouth Quackers.
Yeah, very, very different look to how they looked the last time around on Lotus. I'm really happy for them personally. This is their map pick. They look much, much more comfortable on it. Of course, I think huge credit last round does go to Run there, being able to anchor down that mid. The timing on that Viper smoke not quite materializing for the attackers, unfortunately. Off the back of that Run, just being able to get two crispy headshots. It just seemed like bracket of crisps and chips are both having a contender on the opposite side for crispiness tonight, as Run was able to pop off. And once again, you know, they didn't get the plants, so not much buy coming in for the side of the Grocery Store here. They are going to be forced to play with just these classics, though they are just in this round, the strategy just seems to be run it down towards mid, where once again, Run is going to be the Bastion, trying to like kind of put a stop to the action, though they bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Four players just running them down into oblivion here, and now it's only going to be one on this A site remaining, though the crossfire is still there between Ghost and the Race.
You know what? Oh, the free fire attacker gets taken out, but that trade comes through from Lavrita. I was going to say, I respect the aggression here coming through from the side of Grocery Store. They are getting stuck in. Are they aware of Luna, though? No, they're not. Chips falls down. Can the trade come through? They certainly know the position now. That Satchel is going to be a little bit of a bait, but the swing by Crisp is going to shut her down. Bonsai, beautiful little pick there on to Rantaro, using that utility. Again, lots of utility used on both sides instead of sometimes going for these gunfights. Lavrita takes out Bonsai, and Jay takes out Packet of Crisps. It's going to be certainly a bit of a ring around the rosy here now. A 1 versus 1. Bait comes through on that defuse. Are they going to take the bait, though? Jay is lurking, hunting, sniffing, just for the head of Lavrita. Can't quite find it, though. Going to go for the bait once more. The swing around the corner. There we go. Lavrita finishes the job. 3K for the round.
Wow, that was absolutely gorgeous work coming out of Grocery Store there. Again, in these kind of anti-equal rounds, you know, if you have nothing but classics on board, you want to try and go for these trades as much as possible, pick up those upgrades on the way, and I think that was just a phenomenal example of the success you can achieve if you play your cards right. Run biting off, like we talked about, a little bit more than they could chew in the mid. That gun being picked up again. Once again, Ghost could have been the difference maker there. They were able to find one, but that was all they were allowed before that second gun was picked up as well. And off the back of that, just the patience coming out of the rest of these players, that they not only get the plant but also convert the round. And now it's going to be the economy in a bit of a dicey position this time around for the side of these players on the defense, and early paint shells being forced all out of their pockets just because they want to keep Bonsai alive once they got tagged by that recon. And now these two players on site, they are trying to anchor it down as much as possible. It does seem like Sakura has the information though, with that Phantom looking to get a little bit up close and personal here, and that Viper smoke committing is probably going to give away the cue that A is going to be where the hit is coming.
Yeah, certainly so. The Owl actually pushing Luna back a little bit just to give themselves a little bit of cover, a little bit of defense from this information being fed to the rest of them. Is Sakura going to notice the heads here? Yes, they are. There's Ghost being taken out. Bonsai does trade it back and back like Crisp, so for taking out Sakura themselves. Trades across the board. It's looking like the stock market, Zach. Beautiful job there by Lavrita, taking out Luna too. And here we have it, a 2 versus 2 post plan. Make that a 1 versus 2. Poor Ren has to really do something here. Lavrita falls down. Sova versus Sova. Again, where a little bit of quiet, the bait will come through. Chip swings around the corner, takes them out. Goodness me. It's another round on the board for Grocery Store.
Yeah, it got down to the wire there. Sova versus Sova at the end. A little bit of investment that was put in there by Grocery Store, though not too much more than they could afford. They're still going to be able to comfortably buy up. I think that this round, though, we are going to be seeing that full buy versus full buy kind of question really come in. Although we did see some sheriffs and other pistols from the defense as well. The defenders are going to be able to buy in, but for the attackers, because, you know, they lost 4 of their players in that buy that they invested in, a bit of an awkward buy. In fact, it's just going to be a Ghost available for Packet of Crisps there. they do have some ultimates to work with, though. One in particular that I would have my eyes on is that lockdown, because especially if you can already get that spike down without the help of it, it's going to buy so much more time on your post plant. Once again, it's going to be Sakura, my bad, chat. I'm sorry. I have a little bit of an American thing going on. So anyway, Sakura trying to lead the charge, but just being shut down off the bat by Bonsai. Huge kill there.
Massive. And once again, we're at this kind of very tentative, quiet moment. Versus still not wanting to over peak too much. Again, they're very good at using their utility instead of going for some of these swings sometimes with patience. Off Saints run, taking chips off guard a little bit, but again, and once again, these trades instantaneous from grocery store. So again, they can whittle down even more. It's now 3 versus 5. They are going to try and go for this A execute, and they do still have Lavrita contesting a bit onto B. Maybe to go for a bit of the old bait and switch. That call could come through. Look at this. The Raze is actually taking the bait there. There we go. The Viper's wall is up. They can pretty much get this plant down uncontested. The Ice wall is going to go up as well. This was such a play from Grocery Store. There we go. The spike being planted. Luna being pushed back. The post plant now for Grocery Store. Zach, goodness me.
They have every single thing they need. One thing that would have been probably a little bit more beneficial was a Sova, but they have both that Viper and that Killjoy lockdown available as well if they want to buy some additional time here. Look at the positions. They're all going to be playing towards the backside here. That lockdown going to be invested as well. A little bit of space on site, but still covers the spike completely. An open plant to boot. And now it does seem like the defenders, they're going to be forced to respect it. The spike still ticking off guard right now. Lockdown is eventually broken, though it does seem still a little bit dicey. There is going to be that Sage wall available, though, as the defuse attempt tries to come through. It's not going to be enough. Trades so far perfectly go in favor. The diffuser, though, behind it, Bonsai being able to stick it absolutely huge coming out of them. Just a bit of that ice wall remains, and off the back of that Bonsai, just being able to show this is why pros don't fake. And they get that diffuse 2-2 right now. And, you know, unlike Lotus, I gotta say, Grace, it seems like we got a banger of a game on our hands.
One might say it is a barn burner, a stable scorcher. Oof. I can't get it. That last round was just, I had a permanent, just open wide mouth the entire time. First of all, the bait to actually open the breathing room for that collapse. Goodness me. The things I love to see. Then they put the ice wall up too. So yes, you can shoot it out, but it creates a tighter choke point. And then the gorgeous retake from Plymouth there. Oh my goodness. This is a game and a half we have on our hands. Exciting stuff, Zach.
For sure. Now, though, it does seem like B is going to be where the interest has been pivoted towards. Once again, just as Viper and Reyna being able to hold down the fort, the Phantom really finding value with that spray through the smoke, and of course, Jay with the Spectre playing at an absolutely ratty angle to try and prevent this from coming through. However, though, the Viper's pit, despite that lesser buy, is going to be invested by these attackers to try and make things work. Jay looking to try and tank it right now, just find a kill on the off chance and just dismiss themselves out of there. They will be tagged down a little bit. In the meantime, it's going to be the Slurk from mid finding incredible value. Ooh, Jay, though, still going to be alive and kicking. Being able to find that first kill is huge. Will deny the spike plant. And now they're looking for more. The Hunter Spear as well being invested by these defenders here to deter plant ideas. Jay finding a second on site. It's all down to these 3 remaining players. Spike gets well dropped in the open. Gotta be washed out by Jay as well as Run right now. Bonsai finding one finally through their spray. It's all down to Packet of Crisps. Arm with the Judge is gonna be caught out with a recon though, and the spray might be too much for them to handle. And it's gonna be a flawless for the defenders.
Flawless indeed. Again, I respect the commitment to the Viper's pit. It's the thing we love to see, the classics, the meta that we do tend to see when it comes to Icebox. Potentially a little bit too early though. Again, they had a little bit of difficulty to actually try and work out some of that positioning of the other players. I think, again, because of how up close and personal Plymouth chose to be there. I think Plymouth played that well in the sense that they did have that kind of positioning. They did have this slight extension, but it should have been read maybe a little bit better by Grocery Store.
Just a bit. But anyway, that was, like we talked about, they didn't have the greatest guns to work with in that round, which is why I was questioning the investment of that Viper spit, but that I saw the judge and suddenly it all made sense. Now, though, it is going to be Lavarita kind of watching this flank, is rewarded for their patience with that kill onto Bonsai. will be able to get the heal back up. And now Jay getting aggressive of their own. Once again, the Rotaro ready for it. Suddenly, these pushes that have been working so far in these 5 rounds looking great for the defenders. Not quite seeming like the best idea. Forcing Ghost off of mid towards his B site instead, where the spike is indeed going to be coming. However, it doesn't seem like Ghost can really do anything to prevent it from going down, as it is going to be post-plant setups probably coming out soon. Second kill as well with a spray down from Rotaro. Absolutely huge. And now 2v5, Grace. Do you think they have a chance?
Potentially. I mean, it depends how aggressive they want to be. Again, we look at the composition they're using. Certainly, it calls for aggression. But again, when you've got the Sova, when you've got the Raze, it's not going to be the best kind of utility to use. You can't really be too aggressive with those players. Certainly with Raze you can, but they only had a satchel in pocket. So rightfully so, they're just going to get picked apart on the attempt here. They didn't have the information. They didn't have any utility to go for something a little bit more punchy. Again, you know, as I said, Luna only had that satchel in pocket. Granted, that can give you maybe a bit of an aggressive push, but you still need the information there to know where they are. Maybe some utility again just to cover yourselves a little bit, as you are going to try and play it a bit smarter.
You know, I also noticed that Sakura bought an AUE in that previous round, finding 2 kills of their own to boot. So a little bit more challenging buy coming out of these attackers here, finding really good value from it as well. Right now, though, it is going to be the Viper's Pit this time around, committed by the defense for some early control towards his B main area of the map. We'll let the rest of them play a little bit more diversely across the map. And anyway, they have their sights set on A. They have the ultimates for it as well. I think they have the Hunter's Fury if necessary, as well as that Resurrection. They want to take an early fight, which is what they are looking to do as they aggress onto this A site. Crossfire being held between the Raze and the Sova. Luna are also having their hands on that showstopper, might be the difference maker. I've seen some horror stories if you get that one in the right spot. And while they have taken control of this lobby area, it is going to be Chips being able to spot out this player, pushing them out of the angle, and Lavreda will confirm that kill. That's going to be the showstopper taken offline. A huge opening pick for these attackers.
Certainly so, and once again, Spike is being plonked down on site. Retake now for the side of Plymouth. We've seen them do some really nice retakes thus far, though even when they've not been in the best of situations. Chips once again just really trying to deny this push from Ghost. Is aware of that positioning and would have fed that information to the rest of their team too. Ooh, beautiful little pixel hit by Sakura, but it's a little bit too slow with it. It's going to get a little bit chaotic, to be honest. Zach, there we go. Run takes out Rentaro. No immediate trade just yet, though. Sakura still holding on to these tight angles. Gets tagged up a little bit as well. No one's really quite going for it, but as I say, that a trade does come through. Sakura gets one for being taken out by Bonsai. Can they try and stick this plan? The ice wall does go up.
Oh no.
What kind of util can they use to try and go for it? They don't think they have time, do they, Zach? There we have it. Wipeouts across the board, apart from Packet Crisps, who was indeed able to get to safety and celebrates that fact with a lovely little heart on the wall for us all.
I'm just gonna assume every single heart that comes out of these players is for us, Grace, because at this point we deserve it. Let's take that. Thank you for.
I agree with this. I think we should be taking that as a sign.
Yes, thank you for the love, wonderful players, because all of you are popping off. What is unfortunately not quite wonderful for the side of the defenders here is that their economy, well, they're broke. We'll just say it bluntly. They still do have that showstopper as well as that Empress on J to try and work with, but aside from that, not much left in their bank. We'll be able to buy in next round, so at least it's not too bad. And Jay looking for some early aggression here. We'll be able to push up, but again, you know, Chips, they're gonna realize like, yeah, you know, we did the push and kill strat the last time we had an eco. It's probably gonna be more of the same from them. So let's just try to go elsewhere. Sakura and Spawn able to hold it down with the operator, finding that first kill, finding the second as well. At this point, it is just going to be Jet farming simulator towards this A site as they look to try and pick up that stinger. However, though, towards mid, Run is going to be able to confirm that kill and at least take that operator offline. In the meantime, though, the B side has been completely taken.
It's a very clever read there, to be honest, from the side of Grocery Store. That's given them the breathing space they needed to finally get that spike down nice and safely too. They have loads of util there. You know, they've got the saves, they've got the Viper. They could just plonk all that utility down, cover the lines of sight. Run is trying to go for a sneaky peek around the corner. There we go, Rantaro. Are they aware, though, of Packet of Crisps here? No, they're not. There we go. Taken out almost instantaneously. Luna taking out a Packet of Crisps in retaliation. Trades across the board yet again. 2 versus 2 retake. Could go either way, to be honest, but the timer is ticking. So we wonder if we might see some ults come through. Yes, indeed we will. Doesn't quite land, though.
Oh, the ice wall comes in, but once again, just this post-spawn setup is too much for these defenders to deal with. That nano swarm just doing absolutely bonkers damage. And let's Ghost confirm that kill. Lunar, though, will be able to at least save this gun. But all things considered, that's not too much of a W. I don't know if they managed to retrieve that operator as well. Unfortunately not. But I think that they might still be able to buy it if necessary. If necessary, I say if. But because it's going to be Sakura with the Blade Storm trying to get some action in. Once again, it's going to be the Killjoy, this time on Lavarita, racking up the numbers for these attackers. Have 4 ultimates online to go as well. Everything seems to be in their favor in this particular round, as long as they can really get a chance to use them. For the defenders, though, they did invest that, showstopper that we were talking about, Grace, last time. So that's going to be one less thing they have on board, though at least they have their res online.
They do, but it's the question of whether we'll see this util dip. Util dump. It looks like indeed we will, but Luna's going to shut down that Blaze Storm. So that's at least something for your trouble. Again, they're still desperately hunting down, still desperately locking down on site. And as I say that, of course, the lockdown does come through from the attack. It's going to create some breathing room here. Just want to get a little bit more stuck in. Luna falls down as Grocery Store trying to attempt their way for a collapse, but you're not aware of the Ratty angle. Run is holding Nivera's chips. That is a beautiful 2-pick for the Sova player. Can they get a third? Yes, they can. Spike is out, and there's the 4th. Goodness me, Run. You make it look too easy.
Ron sending them all packing and running back to the spawn there. First, with a little bit of a stopover in that Shadow Rello, but absolutely fantastic hold coming out of them, like you mentioned. That ratty little off angle, just letting them find the first. And after that, they had the momentum, they had the pacing, they were able to just bring it back in their favor. By the way, chat, when we say someone's playing ratty, just know that it comes from a place of utmost respect and love, because the ratty players in Valorant are the ones that make this super annoying to play against and also super entertaining and competitive. So it comes out of love.
I am a ratty player. Like, I love rat players. It's the only way. It is and it's like I'm the Valorant Mandalorian. It is the way. This is the way. Like, you need to play like a rat sometimes. Makes it entertaining. No one expects the rat players, and that's why they work so well. Especially if you're on that defense, to be honest. I often say time is the 6th defender. If you're on that defensive side, they have the ABCs to go through. They have their steps to go through. You can throw a fast spanner in the works by being a rat. Ice Wall gets broken down, but Sakura, just too quick with it, takes out Jay. That spike can go down uncontested. Ghost gets taken out in an attempt to shut this down as well, but Run taking on Sakura as well. The retaliation, again, back and forth on both sides, but that Viper's Pit is nice and open, Zach. This is going to be a very clunky retake. Painters do go out to try and cause a little bit of a ruckus, as Run looks like they may attempt to try and stick it on the sneaky.
Yeah, but that Viper's Pit, it's going to tag you up to just a sliver of HP here. It is going to be Runsor able to swing out and connect that kill. All it takes is 1 bullet when you're trying to find some damage through. And now with that clock ticking once again, it does seem like the attackers have bought more than enough time for that spike to just tick its way through. And these last remaining players from the side of Kleinut are going to be just trying to hold on to this, to their guns here. It is going to be Lunar finding a kill onto Packet of Crisps, but aside from that, not much else that's really going in their favor. And right now, if you look at the economy here, it's absolutely thriving for these attackers. They are looking phenomenal, like they could do no wrong. And I think overall, just their management of their ultimate economy, if he seems to be way more comfortable. Either they lose players right off the bat and they struggle with the rounds, or they just have complete control of not just the map, but also these things. You saw the Viper's Pit come down last time around, the lockdown, and the previous one before that. And now they're still going to be able to hold on to this Hunter Sphere and Resurrection, so things are definitely in their favor, but the buy is going to be there for their opponents as well. And if perhaps you can see an early pick coming out of them, it might be what they need to bring this game back kind of in their favor.
100%. Just putting the feelers out, working out the way they want to go. A few little bullet sprays just to go for a little bit of the old bait, make sure that pressure at mid is still being held by the defense. Again, I reckon they're going to try and go a little bit punchy with this now. Keep that pressure on the mid. Go for that B collapse, but Run, ready and waiting. There we go. Sakura gets taken out. No retaliation just yet either. I think ready and waiting. There we go. The defense are going for that full rotate now. Are they going to try and rotate themselves? It looks like Grocery Store are indeed doing that, to be honest, Zach. Or at least the attempt will come through here.
Yeah, definitely. I think no, though, it is going to be Jay towards mid being able to find that first huge kill. We'll be able to take a little bit of a peek as well with the help of that dismiss, looking for more kills, and now it's all down to Slavarita against the world here. Does manage to find that first, but in the meantime, it is going to be players falling across the map. A little bit too much of a split push there, and they are punished for it. And now, though, it's going to be the last round and a half. A bit of a broken buy coming in out of these attackers right now. You do see, I think, in fact, a Marshall only available for Sakura. Of course, looking at the shots they've been hitting with the operator, they should be able to do quite a bit of damage, but apart from that, looking just a bit rough. And for the defense, well, they have the resurrection, they have that Hunter's Fury online again for Run, who has been phenomenal over the course of this half right now. And if they can get it to 6-6, remember, at a map like Icebox, it does tend to get defenders very attacker-sided, especially if you have the double duelist comp coming in. That might be a factor.
Oh, 100%. The punchiness, the aggression they can bring there certainly will be a spicy one, but let's see what they do. For now, the last attacking round for the side of Grocery Store. They're looking to go a bit more direct this time. I don't think they'll rotate. I think they might actually commit to this, to be honest, Zach. And here we go. Sakura trying to get stuck in is shut down by Luna, though. Will they lose more bodies and then try and pull back, or will they just commit to it? The res goes through, though. There we go. Sakura back online. Few warning shots by Jay as well, just to keep them back, and there we have it. That rotation is indeed coming through, but the defense, they're wise to it. Plymouth themselves, they're hightailing it towards that B site. They know they can put this util up themselves. There we have it. Jay taking out Sakura as well. Certainly going to make things a little bit awkward. That flank watch that they're used to having that duelist hold for them, it's no longer there. Oh, Chips falls down. No immediate trade yet from the side of Grocery Store. That flank can still go down, at least with a Hunter's Fury. Goodness gracious me. Will it tag anyone? No, it won't, but it will at least deny that collapse and that execute. That spike still can't go down, Zach.
24 seconds, make that 20 right now as they have to try and get it down. Run, though, gets a little bit too over-aggressive for their bread and butter here. Luna are able to get a very comfortable trade. We'll give the Patriots back online, and now there's going to be a gap in this wall here. Ghost denies the plant, not quite able to get the kill, though the Snakebite will clean that up. It's all down to just Lavarita here, and Luna are more than ready for that final frag. We'll be able to end this half at 6-6, something that these defenders should be feeling very pleased about themselves, because at some juncture it looked like it was going to go in the direction of Lotus once again. I think it was like 4-2 or something. But yeah, very, very back and forth map. Both teams doing phenomenally well. Though, I mean, looking at that scoreboard, I think for the defenders, Run has been an absolute menace on this defense. Just being able to anchor down that mid, get those trades, find some very nutty headshots and the like for this team. Right now, though, with the side switch, I think that there's going to be a benefit for this for both of these teams. For, of course, Plymouth Quokkas, they do have the double duelist on this attack, which might let them get very, very aggressive very quickly. Might be something that the defenders right now aren't ready for. But for their opponents as well, they have a a team comp that's super well suited to defenders, because, you know, Viper by herself can single-handedly act as that pseudo sentinel to lock down that B side, wall for retake, Sage towards mid, and of course Killjoy, wherever you're going to be putting her, that's going to be something else to watch out for.
Absolute. I'm just so excited to see how ferocious this first pistol round is going to be. Again, we have had the side switch. You want to set a good precedent here, right? You want to hit them a little bit harder. You want to start getting that eco in your control, in your favor. This is where we do see some of these fruity little shots. But for now, again, we're pretty similar to the first round. The patience on both sides, the caution that they're using with each other. Bit of a ring around the rosy. Sakura, beautiful shot there. Chips, and Sakura gets the second one. Chips finally does fall down. Luna looking to potentially get a second as they try and get a little bit more aggressive. The frenzy in hand. Certainly a good gun to have if you want to get a little bit bolshy with Barantaro on the flank. Zach, oh no! There we go, there's one! Labrita being used as a human shield there. Goodness me. The final pistol whip there as Luna falls down. How do you make... How? What on earth? Goodness me.
I mean, when you don't have that Killjoy, you're gonna have to cautiously be playing across the entire map, and I don't think that the side of Plymouth quite expected that flank coming out right off the bat in this pistol round. But yeah, like you mentioned, unfortunately, Lavarita falls. At least it's gonna be something towards their ultimate. But yeah, Rotoro was able to at least get that trade and that two-piece for themselves, and of course, just on site, it was, if I'm not wrong, Sakura being an absolute menace, just being able to get that blades to get those 2 kills with the help of the chair, fall back, get that dash online again, and still look to cause a distraction while the flank came in, and beautiful stuff coming out of the team.
100%. Full speed ahead up there. Where they're not, but they can trade it back. Bonsai has fallen though, so that's a Viper utility taken away from them already. Lots of judge action here as Jay goes for the bounce and swing. Chips falls down. Rantaro desperately trying to get rid of this wall with their teammates, and already the spike is down, so they have to try and go for this retake. Unfortunate for back in the Chris. They're gonna lose their life there. And again, this beautiful use of utility up in heaven is going to really prevent that aggression to come through from the side of Grocery Store right now. Rantaro does full. Labrita, what can you do here? Try and win your ones a little bit. Again, you can bait these 1 versus 1, but I don't think realistically it's going to happen. An awkward situation to be in. Maybe you just try and save some of this utility. Only time will tell. There we go. Beautiful stuff. The crossfires yet again coming through from this side. Comfortable win for them there.
Yeah, once again, the bonus round, or well, anti-eco round, not quite going. You know, last time it's kind of funny. It's like a very cosmic balance, yin-yang kind of thing. Because last time, I believe that it was Grocery Store kind of stealing this one away. And now it just seemed like Plymouth Quackos, they have their revenge. So we're going to be on board, 7-7, equalizer kicking in. No economy really available for the side of these attackers here. Grocery Store looking just a bit too broke for the usual grocery runs. One Marshall and Sakura is going to be it. And on the opposite side, they're going to be very comfortably provisioned with those specters, and you know, that judge still holding on to it that they managed to find. Bonsai right off the bat able to take down Sakura. They're on a huge kill. No more Marshall going to be online. And now it's looking just a bit dicey. They don't know where exactly this push is coming in. A is only going to have one player online as the onslaught seems to be coming in. The drone, though, will get that information at the very least. And now it's just going to be Chips desperately trying to stay awake on site, trying to prevent this onslaught from really taking over. I don't know if they're going to be able to find anything at all, though.
No, it's going to be a little bit dicey. Yet again, being really shut out of sight, really pushed back. Can Chips here go for the sneak attack? Yes, he can at least. She can try and push back, prevent that collapse. There we go. Beautiful stuff. The judge to the face of Chips. Unfortunately, she's going to fall down. Lavrita falls too. Run cleaning up shop there. A little bit uncomfy, to be honest. Again, just, yes, they had the little moments where they could try and sneak around that utility, but it was the you know, teamwork there that really shone through from the side of Plymouth. Again, just making sure that they had that duo stack every time. Always very difficult, to be honest, to try and go for these swings if you are actually going to run into the swing or facing two people.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just picturing, like, you know, if it had been a little bit of a walk up from Chips to try and find the gap through that ice wall and get a headshot or two with that classic, it would have been one thing. But, you know, they go and they whiff, and after that, well, judge to the face. Unfortunate, but it happens. It was their eco round, though. They're going to be coming back swinging in with Vandals across the board, and it is, in fact, going to be a timeout called by Sakura, if I'm not wrong. You know, they have let, I think for the first time in the course of the series, it is going to be, if you ignore the pistol rounds, of course, it is going to be the lead taken by the Plymouth Quackos, and this team, they really want to make sure that they can somehow prevent this from going into a map 3 rather, especially considering that it is going to be their buy round kicking in. But, you know, Grace, I think they have the team comfort. It's just that so far, at least last round in particular, you saw the little bit of excessive aggression solo to notes being punished one by one. And, you know, if you're playing against a team like as capable as Plymouth Quackos have proven to be, you really don't want to give them that kind of mistakes to build upon, because if you give them an inch, they'll probably run away with them out.
And this is exactly it. This is what we saw, like, you know, last season. Plymouth, they had so many moments of brilliance, and it just kind of slipped away from the playoffs. This is why I was saying I really want them to do well now in this playoffs. I really want them to shine through. If they can win this map and bring us to that third and final map, it's honestly anyone's. Grocery Stores have been disgusting, to be honest. They played so well, so brilliantly on that first map. But this is Plymouth's moment to try and, again, just show people what they're made of. Again, falling at that hurdle last season, it was so upsetting to watch. They're so capable, and we're seeing that today. They have gone from strength to strength, and we're already seeing, again, this is very neck and neck considering some of the players that we are seeing in Grocery Store and how ferocious they can be. So it's definitely an exciting matchup. Speaking of exciting, there we go. Sakura taken out. Very clean from Jay there. Counterpack of Chris go for the swing around the corner. Are they aware of their positioning? Yes, they are. Nasty stuff. Labrita with a 2K to go for a little bit of a clapback here. But again, a third one as Ghost falls down. Jay does take them out finally, shutting down that reign of chaos. but what can they do in this moment? It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Again, a 2 versus 2. How back and forth is it getting, Zach?
Very Lavreda going up huge. They're being able to find those 3 kills. But now, like I mentioned, 2v2. Lunar is going to be very, very low, playing this kind of ratty angle to try and find some value here. Will be spotted out, though. It is going to be Rantaro being able to barely confirm that kill in that close range. The Spectre is just doing a demonic amount of damage. And now the wall is going to be put down. However, there's going to be a little bit of a gap. Rantaro isn't expecting this. I don't know if they know at this point. And it is going to be Jake confirming that kill back down to a 1v1 right now. Sova trying to get half of the diffuser, Chip sticking it, but it's going to be Jay pushing up all the way. Unfortunately, only 35 HP left, and it is going to be Chips closing out the round, confirming the kill to boot. Finally, it is going to be a round coming in for the side of the defenders here, but question is at what cost, because they did lose 4 of their guns. They have the lockdown online in this particular one, but the economy not the greatest. Though if you look at the opposite side, I think Plymouth, they're gonna be having a ball of a time. Look, everybody across the board has like at least 3K.
I mean, it's some of the mechanical abilities. Well, we just saw absolutely snappy with it from Chips there. Goodness me, it was one of those moments where it's like, if I was in that situation, I'd be shaking all over the place. And you're just able to just flick up and hit that shot. Teach me, please.
Teach us. I concur with you.
Of course, a classic, again, when we speak of the classics with bringing Sage, and again, when it comes to this Ice Wars, we are seeing those classic positionings, right? We're not seeing anything too creative on both sides. So again, when we do consider the fact that both sides have that Viper, they have that Sage, there's nothing too fruity on that. Both teams can expect that, right? Both teams know what they're going to go up against in terms of that utility, at least. So again, there's definitely some thought that you can do pretty quickly on how you want to deal with it. Speaking of dealing with things, Jay, these are Sakura, but Chips is there yet again with these util kills. It's getting a little bit naughty there, I'm not going to lie.
Talking about naughty, though, it's going to be the lineup from Packet of Crisps here to try and deny the plants from possibly coming through. Position going to be spotted out, but the molly still will go down, and there's going to buy at least a couple of seconds before the spike can comfortably go down. Information is there that B has been taken. The spike finally getting a chance to be kind of put down there. The molly on site, not quite able to connect, as without too much ado, it is going to be the Sova being able to confirm it. Right now, though, the economy, like we talked about, a little bit dicey. They do have that Phantom, if I believe, on the Sova, but aside from that, not much. What they do have that I'm looking at right now is this lockdown here. I don't know if there's going to be a counter Hunter's Fury really available to get invested as they push forward, but unfortunately they're choosing not to commit that, instead going in for a full retake right now. Bonsai still being able to lock down this position. 3 kills on the round already for them, and now it's all down to just a Killjoy here, a 1v4, and with the economy being as difficult as it is, it does seem like Lavrita is opting to let the round go, hold on to the gun instead, and dream of a better day. Oof.
100%. Oof being the main thing there again. I always thought bonsais, you know, they're a little bit of a weak plant. You have to really look after them or they just kind of fall apart. This bonsai, goodness me, this bonsai has teeth, to be honest, Zach. That was phenomenal. Again, it's such an aggressive angle that you want to go for, such an aggressive swing that you want to go for, collecting a 3K, shutting down the retake. Gorgeous stuff there. Gorgeous. Again, though, the lack of commitment for the lockdown, why do you think that was? Do you think they just wanted to save it in pocket to bring it to 9-9, or...?
I think that there's definitely a possibility because we have that lockdown still in that Arsenal. They didn't come in at last round. They also do have, I believe, that Hunter's Fury available for Chips. So really, really pivotal ultimates that you really want on your side in this retake. Right now, it's going to be Sakura, though, starting things off with that Blade Storm, looking to get a little bit up close and personal, though. It's not going to be them being able to quite find anything yet. It's going to be the Recon, though, from Chips trying to buy a little bit more space for Sakura to try and work their magic in. Though right now, it does seem like these attackers, they've been warned off the site. In the meantime, towards mid, it's going to be Rantaro finding a huge kill there, though the trade is going to be 1-for-1 as Bonsai once again strikes back. 4v4 situation, 1 minute about left on the clock, and they want to decide, the attackers have to decide if they still want to go towards this A site where they have faced a little bit of opposition, or instead rotate over. It does seem like A is going to be that point of interest right now. Chips getting that information once again, and the cavalry should be coming in.
100%. Here comes the cavalry. Here comes the Bladestone, bro. Sakura gorgeous, taking down Luna. No trade coming through just yet from the attackers. Loads of utility votes, something we've seen quite frequently again. Why go for a swing when you can use that util? Speaking of util, the pit is open. Chips looking to still get a little bit freaky with it. There we go. The spike is down. The Bonsai can turn around and trade that back. Shorty in hand. Another shorty to the face. The Sakura falls down. The cleanup coming through yet again from Bonsai. The spray and pray bow doesn't quite commit to anything. Doesn't quite land. Lavrita is going to shut you down.
Like we talked about, it is gonna be 9-9 here, Grayson. Again, like we talked about, those ultimates really being able to come in huge. It does seem like we're seeing some more confidence come out of the grocery store team here. You know, that aggression towards mid, that kill from Rantaro being able to find the Sage there, taking the resurrection offline for Ghost. Absolutely huge right now. This game is just neck and neck. Both these teams fighting for everything on the line, or at least, you know, the continuation of that upper bracket on the line. Let's not hype it up too much. But yeah, ultimates on both sides still available. That David, I think that for the defenders, they're going to be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief there because they managed to get the Viper's Pit out of Bonsai. Bonsai by themselves has proven to be an absolute menace so far on the server. In that Viper's Pit, if they had an actual gun, I shudder to think about the damage that they would be facing. But that's not going to be a factor for a couple of rounds yet. So huge sigh of relief for them.
Usually I believe that's going to be very comfy indeed. Bonsai going for a few warning shots, potentially taking out a bot there as well. It's getting quiet before the storm. It's grocery Plymouth Quackers, that's a difficult word to say. Plymouth Quackers are trying to sneak ever close towards this B site. Packet of crisps. Looking to wait, looking to hold off. Again, loads of utility going down here, but they're not quite biting just yet. They really want to hold on. They're waiting almost for that spike to go down, to be honest. They're going to try and go for a util bounce here. Bonsai tries to pressure mid, but Rantaro ready and waiting for them. Goodness gracious me. There we go. There's that spike. So here's where the aggression starts to come through from the side of grocery store. Loads of util being used there by Plymouth Quackers to try and hold them back again. Really smooth execute coming through every single time. Love the patience though coming through from Plymouth as they are once again trying to just grocery rather to try and delay and try and approach a bit smarter when it comes to these retakes. But again, you need to be landing these kills.
I think the reason why they haven't really gone for that lockdown quite yet is the presence of this counter Hunter's Fury available from Run, just going off on a farming simulator right now, finally being shut down by Chips here for the clock. It's not looking too good right now. 1v2 for Lavarita. They know that the spike isn't going to be diffused, and just like that, once again, it is going to be this team pushed into that save round. And remember, as long as that Hunter's Fury is going to be online for Run, Lavarita's lockdown, it's not going to be able to find much value here. That's why you haven't seen them being able to pop it at all. Lavarita's still trying to do some damage towards the end of the round. Unfortunately, the kill is not quite connecting, and once again, it is going to be the economy in a bit of a dicey spot for the side of these defenders. One rifle that they've saved, but aside from that, not much to work with. No Blaze Storm on Sakura this time either. So, I don't know. This is a chance for these attackers to get to 11. Plymouth Quackers being able to extend the lead onto their own map and possibly push it to number 3, which I believe is Pearl. It's definitely looking like a possibility.
I mean, it'd be really gorgeous to see these two go head-to-head on Pearl as well. Think about how much, you know, especially when it comes to the changing, the adaptation from each other as well. You know, going passive, then suddenly going for that punch, or going for that punch, going passive, and then again creating breathing room as much as you possibly can, constantly changing, constantly mixing up what you're doing. I think certainly Pearl will be very, very nice indeed if we see that. Shorty in hand though. Sakura, there we go. Lands one onto Run. Bonsai does trade it onto Chips though. Both teams taking damage one apiece. Will the rotation come through? It looks like there's been a little bit of a bait here as they are indeed heading towards that B site yet again. And most likely grocery store won't be waiting to try and deny it.
Yeah, they went in
So
for
much
that
breathing space.
Yeah, they just went for that A stack. They were like, look, we'll try to get a pick. They've been kind of playing the map here. I don't know if they're going to be aware of the possibility of the positioning being held right now, though, towards Kitchen, as well as this tube area. Not one, but two players sort of like bunched up around here. They managed to clear out every single nook and cranny of this B side before finally being able to get that spike down. That is going to be the cue for these attackers to start rotating back in. And this is a power position being held by Jay right now. They're going to have to try and do as much damage as possible from it if someone does to try to come through Kitchen here. And ideally, while not losing that weapon either. Showstopper online for Lunar as well if it comes comes to a necessity. And if you spot 3 players there, you might just want to pop it. Though Lunar trying to, hold on to it for the next shot here. Will be pushed off the angle with that Viper Molly, and the damage is going to be 2x. It's going to be a 210 shot to the head. Until we're able to pick up the gun as well. And Jay, right now, going to be in this position, able to find that first. Second as well coming in from Ghost. And despite that lockdown being invested, it's going to be coming down to nothing. The clock ticks, and Packet of Crisps all alone will be forced to just die a sad death to that spike, unfortunately, or at least save this gun as they head into the next half. 11-9, 2 ahead. Seems like Plymouth Quokkas, they look very, very comfortable right now. I didn't know that Quokkas were so comfortable on ice.
I mean, the thing that I'm really noticing, okay, granted that last round they were nowhere near the site when it came to that execute, but it's the fact that every time they're not especially when you consider the previous map, they're not using as much util this time to deny that collapse. It could be because, the players that they need to have that util, they're not in the correct position yet. But again, it just seems a little bit more passive than what I think we're used to at the moment from Grocery Store.
For sure. It seems like, with the team comp they're running, as well as the fact that they're on defense, they're looking to just be a little bit more comfortable. Right now, that's going to be Lunar, really trying to go heavier. The Showstopper not finding any value. The Skilljoy utility is still on site as well to try and do some damage here. The Odin from Lavarita not quite able to catch anyone off guard, though at least they are going to be able to break that wall open for the rest of their teammates. In the meantime, Chips on the flank, going to be caught in the open, though, unfortunately. Run hiding behind that Viper wall, able to be an absolute rat and find that first kill. However, though, Sakura does have that operator online, is able to find that first, but you gotta check your corners because Jay gonna be positioned in power positions like this. It's gonna be impossible to clear out right now. Finally, though, it is going to be the wall coming up. The spike trying to get stuck on the wrong side, though. Clock still ticking. Ansaro able to find 1. 2 players remaining right now. The rest are available online as well, but the spike is still going to be planted relatively in the open. Half the defuse being stuck already. Ransaro holding onto it for dear life. And that's going to be the ninja coming through. Wow.
I mean, that's exactly what they needed, right? That certainly will put the wind under their sails yet again. Again, I just feel they were so passive the last few rounds. That certainly was a lot punchier. Granted, we could pull it down to some of that gun utility, right? A lot of freedom, especially as you saw, the ice wall getting taken down very, very quickly. That gives you a lot of lines of sight, a lot of breathing room. You don't have to waste your own bullets too. You can keep that mag fully loaded. You can go for these swings. That was much, much better from Grocery Store. Can they bring this to even Stevens?
If anybody tries to walk down mid right now, they're going to be met by the firing squad of all firing squads. I saw 4 people holding that angle right now. But yeah, like you mentioned, they're taking it a little bit more passive. No more lurks through mid or anything, which is good because you really don't want to walk into 4 players just watching you with that gun on ADS ready for that kill. Right now, though, Run going for a little bit of a lurky play towards this ace site. At least watching for an aggressive push coming out, because when you don't have that killjoy, you're forced to put some of your players on this position instead. Sakura back up with that blade storm, does go for the orb, gets it without too much ado, and now Run. They're going to be trying to at least fake a little bit of a commitment towards this A site here. We'll be spotting out both of these players, so they know that A site at least has this much. Off the back of that information, there's going to be a call to go over towards his B area of the map instead. Although unfortunately for Jay, caught in the open there as Ransaro finds first blood.
100%. And again, I feel, there we go, the rotation is coming through from A. A little bit too late, though, I would say, because you could have saved it cool that was going to happen. The old bait and switch. Here we go, the Hunter's Fury coming out yet again. There we go. This is a Grocery Store we know and love. Using that utility, using those ults to prevent that collapse. And there we have it. The ults come through, the Blade Storm at the end, the Odin to boot. A swift cleanup there as that collapse was attempted. Again, 11-11, even Stevens. This is what we wanted to see. We said it was going to be a barn burner, a stable scorcher, and certainly that is what we're getting now.
Oh yeah, both of these teams are on fire right now. Run on 27 kills, by the way. Someone give this person like some lemonade or something, because they need to cool off. Yeah, aside from Run being that statistical anomaly all the way up at 27, everybody else is doing a great job. Of course, you have the support coming in from both Packet of Crisps and Ghost on either side. I think Ghost in particular, after having that Scorcher over first map, wants to take a little bit of a back burner. Right now, though, after that Blade Storm being used and the round being won, it is going to be Sakura having enough economy again to go in for this operator play. Jay is aware of the possibility. It seems like no dry peaks coming out of these players quite yet. Sakura's still gonna be the one watching the angle. Please use a drone. Please use a drone. Please don't dry peek this. I know that these players can't hear me quite, but never mind. It's gonna be a mistimed shot from Sakura that's gonna be keeping them alive, and they're gonna be just backing off. They're like, yeah, you know what? We've seen Sakura with an op. It's not very pretty for us. We're just gonna be going for his A instead. Understandable. I would do that too.
That's exactly it, though, isn't it? It's sometimes, even if you whiff the shot, it's a warning shot then. It's a warning shot. It's like, well, do you want to try and contest me right now? Do you have the util to contest me? Do you want to invest that utility to contest me? They're falling now into that A site where that Odin is waiting yet again as well. They have created a lot of breathing room, though. As they see Lavrita, Odin in hand, that plant is going down, that spike, there we have it. This is now a post plant, but Pekka Chris is taking down Run. Bonsai falls too already. Grocery store is looking like a swift cleanup for them. Can they whittle down this attack even more? Yes, they can. Rantaro takes down Luna. A 2 versus 5 now. Ghost gets 1. Can they get another? Sakura taking out Jay. Ghost, can you do it? No, you can't. The op shot said just too fruity. There we have it. Grocery store bringing us to 12.
Match points and series points on the line here because they're only 1 away from confirming they're moving up in that upper bracket. No third map on the line if they can lock it in this particular round, and they have the tools to do it with. You know, this is the 3rd time that Sakura has bought an op on this half, and this is the 1st time that they're going to be allowed to keep it heading into the next round, because so far, even if they win the round, they die, and it seems like the rest of the team are so busy kind of like relaxing after the win that they never have time to pick it up. But yeah, this time around, at least it's going to be remaining in the hands. A bit of an awkward buy for these attackers. They do have the Resurrection online as well as the Empress from Jay, being able to try kind of make a difference here. Right now, though, it's going to be that aggressive turret right towards the beginning of the round, towards this mid area, to try and prevent some damage coming through. The wallbang as well attempt from Lavarita here, though if they're not careful, they might just push through and get taken off guard. Just the pressure towards mid and the counterplay by these players towards that area of the map is going to be making a difference. However, look at Lunar. They've already managed to kind of get some positioning on this ice wall, but it does seem like Rantaro is aware of it, and now right off the bat, it's going to be a 4v5. The Resurrection is available, but it's going to be super difficult to get up.
Yeah, Run the solo push as well. It does tag up Sakura, but again, just too quick with it. The up to the face. Goodness me, no trade as well when you're solo pushing like that, so that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable now. But aside of Plymouth, Ghost falls too. I said it was uncomfortable, and now the grip certainly is tightening. Is this Grocery Store taking this series 2-0? Can the rest of Plymouth go huge here? Luna and Jay, they are on those shoulders, but no, they can't. Grocery Store coming through. Get your club cards out, because that was a 2-0 victory, and spicy stuff indeed.
Yeah, definitely going huge shopping tonight in that Grocery Store for these players. It was just a frag across every single angle. If you do look at that scoreboard, you know, Run might be the MVP of the match, but I think overall the team effort was just so much cleaner, especially, you know, the duo of Sakura and Lavarita were able to do so much damage on this particular round. Lavarita really being able to win out the rounds on attack with some really, really nasty posts, but of course on defense, when Sakura got that up online, every single round was pretty much over, unfortunately, for these for the side of Plymouth Quackers. However, I don't think we're going to be saying goodbye to them from this tournament quite yet. There is going to be that lower bracket where they have a chance to kind of make their way through and look for some revenge, you know, heading into this. But for today, at least, it is going to be Grocery Store, like Grace mentioned, who are our champions for the day, a 2-0 win. And I think they definitely deserve it because, you know, there was a little bit of a mental reset there. They lost a couple of rounds. They were like 2 rounds behind, but they took that time out and they just jumped back in it, and it was phenomenal work.
Speaking of phenomenal work, again, I just want to give a massive, massive shout out to Plymouth, because again, it's the kind of teams where you, and the universities that you want to see go from strength to strength every single season. I say this across multiple titles within the collegiate scene. You always want to see these uni teams go from strength to strength, and they certainly have done that. And again, I keep wanting them to shine through and more as time goes on. We've seen some absolute positivity and wonderful stuff from them so far. I think that they're getting there more and more every season we have of the women non-binary Valorant tournaments. So I'm again still so excited to see how they do in the future. But of course, you know, Grocery Store, wow, I mean, it's just incredible stuff, really. Again, we have seen similar things in the past from some of these players, but it's the fact that they're able to just fully cement themselves now at this point. They are fully able, again, with Lavrita in that roster too. I think that has been so massive for them. Lavrita just went, 20 kills on the board. Previously Lavrita playing again in Boosted Eagles, who are now OnlyFans. But again, that's such a strong and capable player. And I think this has been a really nice roster coming into this. And again, yes, the second map came in so close, but the fact that they were able to pull out that Lotus map as well from the beginning and play it so well, they understood that map. They knew exactly what they had to do. They're like, hey, short and stubby little boy we got here. We can just go for that util dump. We don't have to swing these corners. We can just, use that utility, push them back as much as possible. It certainly works on those more like squishy maps, I like to call them. And it's just been really gorgeous stuff on them. Again, super excited to see how they do in the rest of the tournament, to be honest, Zach.
I like how you brought up the execute, because if you think about it, like if you picture this team trying to attack towards C, there's that concussion in case there's an operator, there's one flash from the KO, possibly a second flash to try to get onto site, and once that spike goes down, it's over. And I think it was Lamarita on that particular map as well. Just utility usage wise, I think that they've been a player that I think I would like to highlight for the course of this series, being able to switch between that initiator, the breach, and that killjoy with such versatility, and being able to just pop off. It was just really nice. So a great game coming out of them. I think they've earned the victory today. Like you mentioned, the dominant start on Lotus, as well as this kind of comeback, I would say, on Icebox. They deserve that 2-0. But of course, a huge shout out as well to their opponents. They put up a phenomenal show, Plymouth Quakas. I wrote their name. I think that's probably gonna be I like it just a little bit more than Grocery Store. I'm sorry, but it's just so cute. I googled the Quaka to learn how to pronounce his name so I don't butcher it. It's kind of cute. I gotta admit, it's kind of cute.
It's like a little beaver bear thing. Like, I don't know, like a tiny little cutie beaver bear situation. It's the things I love to see anyway. But we will, and this is the exciting thing for me, we will be having a little interview coming up very soon, which is very exciting stuff indeed. So do not go anywhere. We are going to have a quick little break. See you shortly.
you
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Welcome back to Amazon Uni Esports UK and Ireland. My name's Grace. I'm joined here by the wonderful Zach. We have just witnessed a 2-0 Dubbington by Grocery Store. I mean, we've been really impressed the entire night with this team. Goodness gracious me, it's been phenomenal. They even treated us, spoiled us almost, one might say, to a lovely bit of Lotus action as well, Zach.
Yeah, so they are going to be cinching that spot in that final after this very dominant victory. Though, like we talked about, we got to give credit to their opponents as well. Plymouth Quokkas. First map, they had a really bad start. They almost came back 13-7, and of course, second map, it was neck and neck. I think I was on the edge of my seat literally for like most of that map. But overall, at the end of the day, it is going to be Grocery Store moving on, and I believe that we are going to be joined with two of their players for an interview today. As we wrap up for the day, I believe it is going to be Chips as well as Sakura joining us. Sakura, I hope I'm saying your name right because I know that I did butcher it a little bit. Pardon my American upbringing, but yes.
Love to see it. Oh, we got a little bit of Noah
so
action as
cute.
well. I'm so here for it. We love Noah. Big ups to Noah. I mean, to start, Sakura Chips, well done on your victory today. Again, a 2-0, especially in the playoffs, is really, really good going. How are you guys feeling?
Thank you very much. The adrenaline is still pumping, I think.
I love it.
Those are stressful games, to say the least.
I mean, it's the thing that you say stressful, but Lotus was incredible. Again, we were so shocked to see Lotus come through. And from the get-go, it looks like there was a massive plan there. You guys did so well. I mean, Zach, you were totally impressed with it, right?
Oh, I was super impressed with it. Like that attacking half, it was like chef's kiss. It was beautiful. And even on defense, even though a couple of rounds got a little bit scrappy, I think at the end of the day, them
And then boom, first map we're in Lotus.
it didn't show. Like, before we went into it, Grace and I were like kind of speculating, like, yeah, oh my god, these guys picked Lotus. They must have super strats to run through and try and make it work. And it does seem like that was coming through in that first half. But if this is your team without practice on Lotus, I'm like terrified to see how they're gonna be, in the next couple of games if they do end up seeing that map again.
Yeah, I did joke after we won the first map that maybe Lotus should be our pick now. I guess we'll see.
100%. It's the thing. Like, you guys played that perfectly. Again, I kept hyping the fact that even in the post plant, you've got some very tight corners there. So sometimes maybe the swing, maybe that pre-fire is not the best thing to do. And you guys just played that util game, which again in the post plant, we love to see it. So I think that certainly you guys should definitely keep that in your pocket because it was just incredible all the way through.
Also, I think like
It was kind of like we normally dominate pretty hard on I suppose. That's like our best map, to be honest. But when they started really pulling out those rounds, it was like the pressure was definitely on. But we kind of we took that. It wasn't even a strat timeout. It was more of just a mental. Right, guys, let's regroup, recuperate, make sure we're playing together. And then I've just made the call. It's like I haven't op this half. Let's pull it out. The comp is not super good at dealing with it. So let's see if we can make something happen with this. And then it kind of came through for us there.
I mean, one thing I want to touch on also is the fact that, last season, Lavrita, they played in Boosted Eagles, and now they're playing with you. And I'm just wondering, like, how that kind of has worked as well for Lavrita. I mean, obviously, you can answer on her behalf, but it's the more the fact for me that like that roster itself was a scary roster, and this roster now, this grocery store roster, is even scarier. I could argue, to be honest. Again, you did beat out the rest of Boosted E-Girls. They're now playing under OnlyFans, which you guys, you won 2-1 on that. Which must have felt pretty good for Love Rita at the time. It's always good to get a little bit of a showdown with your ex teammates for sure. But again, going forward, there's still the possibility that you guys will run into them again, depending on how that lower bracket goes. I'm just wondering, especially when it comes to that lower bracket, is there anyone that you guys like do want to play against, or you do want maybe a little bit of a fruity moment with?
You want
That
to
is
take
an
this, Chips?
excellent
Or...
question, and I am not prepared to answer because I haven't looked at the lower bracket.
Oh my!
Wow.
I'm sorry to all the teams down there. I'm sure you're formidable opponents. So.
To be fair, I think some of the teams we played against that are now in lower bracket are incredibly scary. Like, especially
Yeah.
OnlyFans, they were a half team. That was a close game. I will say, like, this is my first time playing in the World League, so I'm not really familiar with the teams. But from what I've heard, Shente are like really good. They obviously won last time, so I think it'll be interesting to play against them. But because we haven't had the chance to yet, there's been other teams, so.
I think it's going to be an interesting one, certainly. Again, correct me, I think off the top of my head, I think Ashente are actually currently in the lower as well. Production, please shout at me if that is wrong. But yeah, lower for some reason, it's just gone mega spice mode. And again, the fact that you guys are in the upper and you're getting to go from strength to strength here, you're getting to just absolutely put on these performances, these constant like victories. A 2-0 today, as you say, Icebox, you thought, it's our best map where we could do well, but you're still going against these formidable opponents. Plymouth have put in a lot of work. I said this last season, like they're going to come back real strong next season, I can tell already, and they certainly did. As you say, there were moments where you guys were probably getting a bit like, oh, this could actually go to the third map, and we don't really know how to feel because Icebox is our baby, our little like child that we're really good with. So I think going forward, I'm really excited to see the way that you guys, especially, are going to play around these map bans, the maps that you're going to bring, but also if you are going to start counter-stratting. I mean, I don't know if you guys put any thought into that. Could you give us a little sneaky hint?
I mean, I don't reveal too much, but I'll be honest, I did kind of review some of the other teams' games before this, but then I prepped for the maps that we then didn't play, so that's a little bit unfortunate, to be honest. I was like, these are the maps they've played before, this is the maps I've seen them play, I know what they're going to do here, and then we didn't play them, and I was like, well.
The classic.
Pulled out the Lotus, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
But this is the thing, it's that is something that you have in your pocket now. Zach touched on this before. Certainly something you can bring to the table going forward now. Just go for that Lotus. Maybe next week we'll see it come through. I'd be upset, to be honest, if you didn't bring it out again, because it was played beautifully. Everything you've done has been played beautifully, to be honest. We've seen some really nasty shots come through as well. Icebox, yes, it was getting a little bit dicey. I'm sure some of your fans were kind of gritting their teeth a little bit in parts, but for the most part, again, just you guys are playing really enjoyable Valorant. You're playing really skilled Valorant as well. And I think, this upper bracket, it's going to go a little bit crazy, I think.
Just
a tiny bit, maybe. a sprinkle of crazy. But, I mean, do you guys have anything you want to say to your fans at home, to your friends, family, the postman, whatever you want?
The grocery store?
A big thank you, I guess, for, supporting us and watching the stream. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I hope to see them at the finals as well.
Ooh.
I think I did see a lot of fans in the chat today. One last question from me. What are you going to be buying at the grocery store tonight? Because I'm really curious.
Oh, it's got to be chips,
Who would have thought?
The packet of crisps as well as chips wasn't a giveaway at all. No, I wasn't expecting this answer at all.
Good stuff indeed. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Again, good luck with the rest of the season. Again, you guys are going through that upper bracket nice and strong. Good luck next week with your games as well. We do want to see more Lotus, so please spoil us, please.
Please.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
No worries. There we have it. I mean, again, the thing is like you've just had a game like that. I know they touched on the adrenaline that they're feeling, but they seemed vocally so chill. Like, how are you that cool as a cucumber? You've just 2-0'd a very good team that are on their own little revenge tour from last season. You cool as a cucumber. Like, there's nothing else you could say, really. Just absolutely love that. Again, really excited to see if they. I keep touching on this. I want to see them more noticed because it's just so good. The way that they were playing that, Zach, like the util use, everything, mwah, chef's kiss, gorgeous stuff. The stuff I love to see. I need it. I need it. Not want, but I need.
Both of us, I think. But yeah, like you mentioned, we're probably going to be seeing them again in that upper final. Hopefully, we're going to be on to cheer them on and fangirl a little bit about them. But even if not, I'm sure that both of us will be watching because that Lotus was just a treat to watch. I think that's going to be it from us for the night, though. Remember, this is the Amazon University Esports Women and Non-Binary Valorant event for spring 2023. Thank you to everyone who made this possible, our wonderful production, especially. I believe I would like to give a shout out to Becca, who has been not only doing all the admin work and everything that has to be done, but also helping make this production a possible reality. Because I think that somebody was feeling a little bit sick or something. I forgot what happened. 2 brain cells, they don't work all the time. But yeah, Becca, huge shout out to them, of course, for this, and of course to my wonderful, amazing co-caster, and to all the teams who did join us tonight. That was it. I think that they really made the show pop. And of course, last but not least, to our sponsors, Prime, Students, Omen. All of these kind of initiatives are only made possible due to money being pumped in by these kind of people. So thank you to everyone, and of course our audience. I almost forgot.
Yeah. Who could forget our lovely viewers at home? Again, thank you so much to the viewers. Thank you so much for the sponsors. I think Zach's just covered it all, to be honest. And we will, this is it. Tick, tick, tick. We will see you all next week for more barn burners, more stable scorchers, and more women on binary Newell coming through from Amazon University Esports UK and Ireland. I've been Grace. This has been Zach. We'll see you next week.